Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
Finally,
salam.
finally. Welcome to the
I
Moorish
know.
History TV channel.
Yes,
And
sir.
today we have a very, very special guest. My good brother, comrade,
That's right.
fellow Moorish American,
Yes, sir.
National Press Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated. Official. This brother's official. We're not, you know what I mean? So I definitely just want to open up and welcome you to the platform. I want to definitely give you honors for all that you've done for the Moorish community
Thank you,
and
brother.
all of the
Appreciate it.
years of sacrifice that you've put in, all of the knowledge you've shared, all of the all of the work, man. You know, the work speaks for
Appreciate it,
itself.
brother.
You know what I mean?
Brother, listen, it's as you know, because first of all, listen, you put in tons of work too, bro.
Hey.
We've watched each other for years, you know what I'm saying? And to Allah be the praise, right? We can
Yes,
only take credit for the errors.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Where we are right now, where you see yourself, where I see myself, I'm not that good.
Absolutely.
You know?
We say may Allah make us better than what those think of us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I
to
like that.
glory be to Allah. You know what I
Glory
mean?
be to Allah. That's right,
But
brother.
but in the spirit of truth,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
in the spirit of peace, justice, truth, love,
Yes.
we have to acknowledge each other while we're here. You know
Come
what I
on, brother.
mean? It's not enough credit is given to those who are actually on the front lines, who sacrificed their life, their time, their families to step into this arena and do the work that is so necessary in our community. You know what I mean? And although we have differences of opinions on several different things, we share commonality on so many different things.
That's right.
And this is in the spirit of standing on firm on that.
There you
You
go.
see?
And even how the Quran teaches us, Allah sorts out where we differ.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's the one who will determine who was right or wrong, where we
There you
different.
go.
And that was a major tradition in Al-Andalus when the Moors was running Al-Andalus. They would debate back and forth until they get to the point where they would say Allah knows best. But
Yes.
the steel sharpens steel.
That's
And
right.
I want people to understand if they don't, because you're very well renowned, but I do want people to understand that this brother here is a phenomenal brother, incredible brother, and has done so much for our community. And I just want to make that clear so that people understand the weight of this union, this
Yes.
discussion, and what we plan on bringing to our people in
Man.
this discussion tonight.
Brother, I have to tell the audience, it was me that reached out to this brother because I've been watching some of his
Stop it,
recent
man.
work. No, it's one of the things we say all thoughts are one, right? Truth is but one. And so there's only one way to tell the truth. We may use different language, but there's only one way to tell the truth. And I've been watching some of your latest stuff, and I'm just like, brother, this brother's been a fly on the wall in many of our conversations, or vice versa. And
Right,
I'm just
right.
like, okay. And really, it's not just okay. We have to take our place in the affairs of men.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's what you're doing with these conversations and the topics. I said, oh, man, I got to chop it up with my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So, without further ado, my brother Ilamir Al Mansour just got in the waiting room. I'm gonna
Another
bring him
scholar.
on yeah, I'm gonna bring him on in a little bit. But before I bring him on, I want to give you the floor to set the tone and the stage for what we're going to discuss tonight and why it's so important.
Okay, absolutely. There's all types of, in various religious traditions, even and I'm going to specifically reference the Judeo-Christian tradition, where it talks about the stone that the builders rejected will end up being the cornerstone of the next building, the next reality. In the book of Revelations, it talks about you know, the lamb coming down with a government on his shoulders. You know what I mean? And how there's going to be a group of people that no man could count that had the name of God sealed in their foreheads, and they sung a new song. You know, all that speaks to what we're going to chop it up and build about. You know, is we're seeing that happen in real time. We're seeing it happen in real time. We're literally seeing a change of the guard globally.
Absolutely.
And just like Prophet Muhammad, who was, you know, by man's, you know, judgment, illiterate, right? Unlearned, unlettered. But through him came a revelation that still stymies the highest minds of this world.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's what is happening with not just our people in general, but our people here in America are being made to be that very thing for the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, we're looking at a shift. We call it the post-Western reality and our significance. So it's one thing to talk about geopolitics and the shift that we see, but it's the significance for me and for you too, from what I've been listening to, is where we in America fit in. The so-called black man of America and black woman of America, where we fit in that whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And with that, that's an amazing way to set the tone for where we're going in this discussion. So with that, I'm going to bring the brother Elamir El-Mansour on, and you know, we're going to get this going. Hey, what's going on, my brother? Assalamu alaikum.
Turn your camera.
You gotta fix your camera, my brother. Yeah. Okay. So there we go.
Alaikum salam. Right
the
now.
3 more.
Yo, I gotta say for the audience, listen. This is the wildest thing, right? All 3.
Yo, for real. This is legendary. This is legendary.
Yo, this
monumental.
This is beautiful.
Monumental.
Did he lie?
Yes, sir.
So we just had the brother Sharif Anael Bey set the tone and the stage for what we're going to discuss tonight. And basically what we're discussing is the geopolitical landscape and how our people in America fit in to that in this day and time. So you set it up wonderfully, and what I will say to kind of push us forward in the discussion is,
yes,
when we look at the landscape that's taking place in the world right now, and I told you this offline too when we spoke earlier, something that I have to give credit to Noble Drew Ali for as the progenitor to the movement that is the Moorish movement in America.
Yes, sir.
When he brought the message of nationality and identity. And many didn't understand the divine nature of that message. Many of my brothers and sisters in the Sunni tradition, when we bring up the fact that those of us in America having a lacking of an original national identity or nationality, they'll say, brother, you subscribing to tribalism. This is something that in our tradition, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, spoke against. However, the Holy Quran tells us that Allah made us into tribes and nations. So that we may know one another.
And not despise the other.
And not despise each other.
Come on.
Now the call, what was denounced is the call to nationalism in the context of my nation is better than your nation is what's denounced. Now, in what is considered authentic hadith, there is narrations that discuss how we must know our lineages. And so those who don't understand the importance of us having a national identity, a nationality in America, what they don't understand is that if you go by, there's several narratives, and I'm going to touch on a couple of things. I just want to spell for a
Yes. No,
second.
this is great, brother.
The Moorish Empire encompassed so many different regions. But for the specificity of this discussion, we're just going to stick with North and Western Africa, based
Right.
on the narrative that we were brought here as slaves, right? Just on
Yes.
that narrative, because we know the scope is bigger.
Of
There's
course.
treaties between the British and the Sultan of Morocco where he is acknowledged as the ruler of all West
All
of
West
Africa,
Africa, brother. Come on.
right? So
That's
that
right.
would mean that the Moorish Empire, and we actually did a show yesterday, Professor Issa and Brother Mansour, showing on the coast of Morocco was the first places to be attacked and depopulated and brought into the slave trade.
Fact, brother.
So we have a certain amount of those people who were brought to the shores of North America and throughout the Americas. I say that because the reason that's so significant is because when Noble Drew Ali brought this message, he was tying us back in to our true identity. And the reason it's so important now is because there's a discussion about the identity. You have people saying we're American descendants of slavery.
Right.
We're foundational Black Americans. You know, we're this and we're that. Now, although these terms have rooted in quality application,
Yes.
they do not cover the foundation of why there's a need to do this thing they're calling delineation. Because
That's
they're
right,
saying
brother.
delineation is based upon establishing an identity. But we have to understand that establishing that identity has already been established because we're a part and parcel of this country, which is coming up. And these are things Noble Drew Ali told us. And he said it's going to be a time where all nations are going to have to claim their nationality. What are we talking about now? And I'm going to close with this and I'll pass the ball off. There's something going on right now in the world called the African Diaspora Wars, the Diaspora Wars. And so many people say, I'm not Black and I'm not this. Now, we know, and we talked about this last night, that legally and politically, Black is not an identity. We
No.
know that. But we
Yes.
also know from our master teachers like, Phil Valentine and the Bobby Hemmets and some of the other master teachers of the concept of Blackness spiritually
Come on,
having
brother.
an application,
That's right.
cosmically. We understand that.
Yes. Yes.
But when we're talking about the specificity of this topic about legality and politics, we know in this arena, it doesn't fit. And so there's a disconnection in the discussion because you got people from Africa with nations and tribes saying we're not Black. And then some people saying they are Black. This confusion is based on the fact that our people here haven't claimed their true national identity, nationality in the context of being a Moor, because that ties us back into something that is of the same quality and nature as the Europeans, who are German, who are French, who are Spaniards,
Come
who are
on.
British.
Come
So with that, I
on.
land my plane and I pass it
Yo.
on. You see what I'm
Listen,
saying?
first of all, brother, let me tell you, as you were talking, the two thoughts came to my mind. Number one, I said, listen, man, you sure this man is not a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America? And then number two, I'm very serious about this, brother. I would be honored. Listen, even those in the Moorish movement, we speak about nationality, but we do it so much, we presume we know what it is. Brother, I would, just based on what you just said just there, I would be honored, and knowing you all scholarship, I would be honored to co-author a book with you on this topic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Because,
was absolutely.
brother, you hit it right. Man, you hit so many
Honest.
powerful points. Like the whole thing of, man, I don't even know where to start. But
Take
no,
your
for
time,
real.
brother.
Like the thing that you mentioned about, for instance, Blackness, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't demonize the term. He contextualized the term. You know what I mean? That's all. He contextualized it. And from the socio-political perspective, Black and white are not genetics. We already know this. American Anthropological Association has already openly stated this. It's not, the color code race classification system is not science, it's bad sociology.
Absolutely.
It is a
Absolutely.
caste system operating in the open.
Absolutely.
And as a result, it is the foundation for creating not just racism / white supremacy, but it's the foundation for global Euro imperialism. And
Absolutely.
we're watching it crumble right in front of our eyes, right?
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely, my
And
brother.
to your point, what you just mentioned about our people being ignorant of the idea of nationality and the concept and principle of nationality, right? And being so think about it, man. What prophet, avatar, messenger, whomever was tasked with teaching the people who they were?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
like, think about what's going on right now in Minnesota with our Somalian brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
because of our collective ignorance, our people in America, we got our people talking about Trump's treating the Somalians the way the Somalians treat black people. Somalians ain't black. What? What? You hear the confusion?
Now, and I'll pass the rock off to you as well, Illimir, but let me touch on that point because we're going to break and smash atoms tonight.
Yes.
We're going to talk about
Mhm.
the things that need to be talked about. So
Yes.
it's a two-way.
Yes.
Many of our brothers and sisters on the continent are ignorant of that very same contextualization
Yes.
that you just established.
Absolutely.
And we're ignorant of certain contextualizations on our end here. So
Yes, sir.
so we're both combating different types of ignorance. And ignorance simply means unaware. So Somalis themselves will say, I'm not black. I'm Somali,
Yes.
right? They're right and they're wrong.
Yes.
They're right because they're not used to that contextualization created via the Christian doctrine of discovery,
Correct.
i.e., establishing what we know today as white supremacy and creating that color-coded caste system. So they're not aware of that because they're not from here.
That's right,
So
brother.
they can see that, hold on, this is something you're trying to hoist on me as some color-coded caste system, but I reject it. And they're right in that essence.
Yes.
But not understanding the nuance of what that means to us here and how that caste system had been exported to destabilize their countries as well,
Correct.
puts them in a position where they're at odds with us here. And what we're missing is that people from the diaspora, brothers and sisters from the diaspora, is telling us, hold on, so outside of the color-coded caste system, what is your identity?
Come on.
Because I done been around the world with my Moorish identity. And
Yes,
in
sir.
every country I've been to, I'll put it to you like this. We've been friends on Instagram and Facebook with a jewelry company in Venice for
Nice.
years, for over a decade, called Dogali Jewelry. And, I was in Venice with my wife. We was there last summer, or
Yes.
was it last summer? I believe so, or at least 2 years ago. I can't remember. But the point is, I was in Venice and I always said when I get here, I'm going to check these guys out. They ended up, now, when I went to the hotel,
Yes.
there was Moorish figurines in the hotel. I took pictures of it. When Illimir start talking and we start talking, I'm going to try to find, I'm going to pull it up. I pulled up the Google to see where they were located. They were a 5-minute walk away from where the hotel was. I said, subhanAllah, this is Allah's will.
Exactly.
Right? So I go there. It's a father and son, Italians, father and son business where they make this Moorish jewelry, where the Moor heads are blacker than us, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
skin complexion in the jewelry. And so when I went there, I'm talking to him. He doesn't speak good English, but he's like, Moro. I'm like, yes, more. I'm more. He says, let me show you, basically in Italian. And he takes me to a picture of Obama and Spike Lee in his store, saying, yeah, Moro. Then gives me a picture, like some pamphlet paper called the Moretti Venetia, basically the Moor of Venice, breaking down the history of how the Moors basically founded Venice, right? So
Yes.
that's just one example of being acknowledged as a Moor, identifying as a Moor. So the identity issue is solved when we tie back into that. And that's something our people don't understand, that that's part of the disconnection
Yo,
with.
can I say something really quick to that point? Really quick, really
Yeah,
quick.
absolutely.
Wow, brother, this is amazing. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. When he talked about the movement, he said, through our connection to the Moorish Divine National Movement, he said, which is incorporated in this government and, as you just demonstrated, recognized by all the nations of the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can attest to that, that it's recognized by every nation in the world. I can attest to that, my brother. Subhanallah. So again, you know, this is something that bridges the gap within these discussions that are taking place nationally and internationally. And with that, I'll pass the mic to you, brother Alman. So what do you want to posit on that?
Like piecemeal derivatives of the
Yes.
true identity. You know, it's nothing out there that's gonna cut it like more. It has everything encompassed in it.
Promise you it does.
For the pro blacks,
Yes.
you're gonna find in the dictionaries it's associated as black. It's a
Right.
definition.
Right.
If you're pro black, how can you be anti Moor?
Come
Mm,
on now. Come
mm,
on now.
It
mm,
don't make sense.
Come on
mm.
now. That's right.
Like we discussed last night with some of those sources in the Portuguese text and in Spanish text, it's associated as moros negro
Yes.
or moro negre.
Yes.
When you go in, you look at what Alfonso and these kings and princes left in their text. These are the descriptions of the people they were fighting.
That's right,
You
brother.
know, so it it,
That's
it
right.
is what it is.
That's right.
Prophet Drew Ali was setting the foundation,
Yes,
and
sir.
you know,
Yes, sir.
we we
He
we
literally
standing
said
on
that.
his shoulders. We standing on his shoulders.
Actual
And
fact, brother. That's
at the
right.
end of the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other
He
thing
actually said
too
that.
is yeah, yeah. The other thing too is when you look at the protected classes in law,
Yes.
there's race, there's nationality, there's national origin, uh, there's also color. So color has a legal capacity
Yes.
in law as well, you know.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely something we need to, as a people, step it up on is our legal understanding,
Agree.
because that's
Agree.
essentially what we have been subjugated with is the law. Even that movie with, is it Al Pacino or was it Robert De Niro, where he played a Jew back in medieval Iberia,
Mm.
and they had some Moors in that movie that came and attempted to marry one of the princesses. It's the Merchant of Venice.
Yeah.
Merchants of
The
Venice.
Wow,
Merchant of
that's right.
Venice.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Merchant of Venice, right.
Yeah, but they're giving you the portrayal in that because the Christians were using the courts to take all of Al Pacino's character's assets.
I think it was Rob De Niro.
They
I
would
think it was Rob De Niro.
Was it Robert De Niro? It was De
I
Niro.
believe
I get
so.
them confused. They was so many
Yeah,
movies
yeah, yeah.
together. But um point is they were using the courts to seize the assets and properties of the Jews and the Moors. Now we all know that the Jews that were in Iberia were largely Berbers, which means they were Moors.
You got it.
Though, you know, there wasn't just Muslim Moors there, it was Jewish Moors there as well.
That's right.
So that they got De Niro as the character. We know that really would have been a Moor in that character. Historically authentic, rather,
Yes.
And to my Christian brothers and sisters and my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters,
Yes.
it includes those,
Inclusive.
it's inclusive of those identities, of those
all of them.
Absolutely.
religions. In
Absolutely.
fact, you find in those treaties, the Moorish Islamic treaties, protections for the Judaic Moors,
That's right, brother.
where they establish with the Christian nations protections for them.
Yes.
And as we know with Saint Maurice, and we know as other Moors who were in Europe at the time and in North Africa and other places, that Moor had that ethnic application that
Yes.
predates the religious applications.
Correct.
So saying you're a Christian or saying you're a Jew or Hebrew Israelite doesn't divorce you from the
You got it,
identity
man.
of Moor.
You got it, brother.
So I just
That's
wanted
a
to posit
fact,
that.
brother. It's deep that you said that. We were talking that's huge, right? To show the inclusivity, right, of Moorish nationality. You know, that shows the genius of it as well, to where it's both and as opposed to either or.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? And it was that way in the medieval era in the end of the 15th century. You know, it's interesting, you know, when you hear about expulsion from Spain in 1492, you give more information about the Jews being expelled than the Moors. But that, as we all know,
Moranos.
goes back to the hiding of the identity, the social, and now so you spoke to the ethnic and then mentioned religious, also too socio-political, right?
Yes. Yes.
So so there's the social political identity. We know that kingdoms were formed in North and Northwest Africa, and then those kingdoms became an empire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a larger social political entity that embraces various tribes, various ethnic groups, etc. You know,
Absolutely.
and what's really interesting to me is the last place you saw such a mixed African diasporic population is where? America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
See?
Absolutely.
Oh, and
1000%.
shout out to my brother. I'm glad you mentioned the whole Hebrew thing. Shout out to my brother Zion Lex. Zion Lex
Yes. Yeah.
is a crazy super Hebrew scholar that acknowledges that he's a Moor.
Yeah, he's done phenomenal works. I've seen some of his works over the years. He's done a phenomenal job in researching and cataloging that data. And just to your point, today we say religions. Back then it was law.
Bingo.
Everybody understood that your law came from your religious belief
Your
or
religious
doctrine.
creed. That's
Your
fact.
religious creed, exactly. That was the foundation of the law and politics of the day. The only reason we see it differently today is because of the Treaty of Westphalia.
Yes.
Which was a treaty that ended the 30-year wars between the Christian popes of Rome and the Christian kings and princes of Europe, who did not want to be ruled or governed directly by Christian law. So they went into their doctrine and used the concept of grace, saying that until Christ returns, that we're under a period of grace. And that is the beginning of secularism.
That's so huge, brother. That is so huge. See, it's a first of all, I gotta say this, and it's an honor to be in the presence of brothers that read.
No, honest. Salute to
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real. Honest.
Because nowadays people don't read books, right?
For
and
real, my
because
brother.
of that, they're totally unfit to interpret and decipher what they're seeing right now happening. Advent assessments. You know what I'm saying? Right, what's happening right now. Like, for instance, to your point about the old world idea, religion and law inseparable, and culture, right? And identity. Well, we see the European American evangelicals playing by those same rules today, don't we?
I'm glad you brought it up, my brother. I was wondering when we was gonna get to this. I was wondering.
They play by those rules right now. That's the rules Steve Bannon plays by.
Oh, yeah. Element, what I was just telling you about. The same way when I called you earlier and you was telling your man, like, yo, we was just talking about Element. Who was I just talking about before we got on the show?
Yo.
Yeah. See, effectively, what they've done is so the people who are caught up in the secularism, who don't really understand the foundations of this country, See, religious freedom, first of all, they don't understand the founding of America. They really don't. They don't understand what founded this, how this, and we may not get to all of the parts here, but we got to go there right now, because now we get to the meat and potatoes of this thing. So the Constitution didn't just pop up one day. Was a succession. Amir, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Remember back in the day when you called up the Library of Congress to get the Constitution, they told you it was like thousands of dollars, and you was like, hold on, why is this so expensive? And you said because they're giving you everything from the Articles of Association to the Articles of Confederation to the current Constitution that we have, right? So that's all a part of the Constitution. This is why when they say to form a more perfect union, it was them perfecting the organizational system that they had already laid down. And I say that to say this: the treaty that the United States made with the Sultan of Morocco was done to end the conflict between the Christian doctrine of discovery and the Muslim sovereigns at the time.
You got it. That's right.
And their capacity for freedom of religion primarily pertained to their capacity to practice Christianity in the diverse and various ways that they saw fit without persecution. However, knowing the supremacy clause saying all laws and treaties entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be binding, which puts the Islamic system, because notice the discussion is Islam is not compatible with American. And that's completely false, because Thomas Jefferson owned the Quran, number one.
That's a fact.
Number two, the treaty that the Sultan of Morocco made with the United States, effectively being the first to recognize the United States as a sovereign nation, in the Arabic, it says he recognizes them as a Christian nation. Now, I know people bring up the Treaty of Tripoli and say that the Treaty of Tripoli says that this isn't a Christian nation, but the way the Moors saw it, is that we're doing another deal with another Christian nation like we have with France, like we have with Spain, like we have with Britain, right? So what we see is America the United States being this foundational structure that creates peace and friendship, which is a term in law to establish the capacity to do business and commerce.
Come on now.
You see what I'm saying?
Unmolested.
So what's happening now in European America is that the white evangelical Christians are taking back the foundations of what the country was laid as to establish it. And what's end up happening now is I've even seen, and this is something again that Noble Drew Ali stated, where he said, "It's going to come a time where and you would know the exact quote. I'm paraphrasing that there's be a time where everybody has to claim their nationality." Now on the census, they're asking quote unquote white folks, "What type of white are you? Are you French?
How about that?
Are you German?
How about
Are
that?
you Spanish?
How about
Are
that?
you Norwegian?"
Yes, sir.
You see? So,
yes, sir.
So the fact is, this is being done because national identity and nationality and national origin has to be established, because now we're getting back to the foundations of what this country was founded on. And Steve Bannon has a concept of originalism, they call it. It's something that Scalia, often the former Supreme Court justice, he often ruled based on this concept of originalism, meaning that we're supposed to interpret things constitutionally based on the original understanding and foundation of the U.S. Constitution. With that, I land my plane and I digress.
Yo, brother.
Yeah.
Again, man, this is such a rich conversation. So, like, one of the perspectives that we bring to this, and I like how I really learned some things about what you just said about, regarding your perspective on the origin of Americanism, right? So we see that perspective. We also see another perspective that butt heads with that perspective, right? So, for instance, the idea, for instance, let's take the unique idea of separation of church and state, right? Now that, and it's not even a secret, it's just well known, that idea came from the old world struggle between the European Protestants and the Catholic Church.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so you have It's a Freemasonic idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so even at the onset, you have like, and I'll oversimplify. You have the states' rights guys, which were pro-Christian,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you have the Federalist guys that were religiously ambiguous,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it sets
Deists.
up this really interesting, tension
Mm-hmm.
that we can follow throughout history. It was that tension that was between the Union and the Confederacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we could take it even further back with the Spanish Inquisition in Torquemada.
Talk about it.
So
Mm-hmm.
we could talk. So with Torquemada and the Spanish Inquisition, that was the enforcement arm of the climax of the Reconquista
Mm.
to take back Europe from an African Islamic power that ruled it for nearly 800 years.
Right. Right.
And and so when Ferdinand and Isabella married, right? James Reston Jr., his book, The Dogs of God, talks about this in detail. When they married, that was the union of the Kingdom of Aragon and the Kingdom of Castile, creating the first modern nation state on the planet, Spain. And you know what the Europeans called their marriage? The second coming of Christ.
Wow.
Yo,
I didn't know that. Wow.
That's what they called it. And so,
Wow.
and you know what our forefathers called it, according to James Reston Jr., the end of the world. You know?
The Antichrist.
Yo, brother.
Wow.
He actually mentions, James Rustin Jr. in his book mentions in 1478, there were three major things talked about in Spanish society during that time. The Second Coming, a Jewish conspiracy, and the coming of the Antichrist.
Wow.
We are living 1492 in reverse.
You know what's phenomenal? Like I told y'all, tonight, y'all, we breaking atoms. We're smashing atoms on a quantum level. So it was rich about the perspective you just laid out.
Yes.
Is the fact that, for instance, I'm gonna double back real quick. I love to watch medieval stuff and Victorian things and stuff like that. So there's two parts on Amazon. There's a show called The Musketeers, right? It's two movies. There's the first one about D'Artagnan, the second one is about Milady, right? But there's all this stuff about it, but the backdrop is that the Protestants are trying to revolt against the Catholics and form their own state within the Kingdom of France, right?
Yeah.
Let me just throw this in there, though. When that stuff is taking place with the Protestants and the Catholics, there are Moors in those ranks. There are Protestant Moors in the mix, Catholic Moors in the mix.
Correct.
And then, you have the Muslim Moors doing their thing outside of all of that. Right? Moors are involved in these groups. Pointing that out, putting that out
your
there,
point.
because we know the European likes to whitewash the historical events to make them seem or appear lily white, when in fact Moors was involved in all of these historical situations, whether they was Muslim, Christian, Jewish, etc.
That's actual fact.
Yeah,
I want to add to that point really quick. So on a surface level, when we look at that history, and again, our people in general, because of how we've been taught or miseducated, our thinking is not nuanced enough. So we think surface level, right? A lot of times. So we hear this history, we say, oh man, that some of the Moors are traitors then. They was helping out the Europeans. Right?
Right.
So you can look at that on a surface level, but on a deeper level, right? We know that when the Abbasids took over from the Umayyads, that's when our empire started to fall and do what? Crumble from within. And the empire split up into kingdoms called taifas, and that's what allowed the Reconquista to rise up and gain power, right?
Absolutely.
So when that began to happen, there were many of us that saw the beginning of the end. And we prepared, we aided and assisted those certain people. That was the fuel behind it in many respects of the Protestant movement.
Now,
Go ahead.
no, I just to both of y'all points in the series that I'm talking about. There's this scene, a couple of scenes where there's a Moor who pops up, and he's related to, he's on the Catholic side. He's helping the Catholics.
Yes.
But he's the godson of one of I don't want to say the post, but he's the godson of the king or something like that, or the god brother of the king. And he comes in and saves the musketeers in battle. And when he rides up on a horse at one point, one of the musketeers is taken aback, like, hold on, like, he's like, he pretty much checked him. I'm just paraphrasing for the people. He pretty much checked him, like, hold on, don't get it confused. You know what I'm saying? I look like this, but you know, I'm plugged in. I'm nobility. Don't get it confused. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And he was a musketeer himself, and the musketeers was in the employ of the king. So I also want to say, and that's just to your point, Ilamir, that and that's why I like watching a lot of the mediums, because sometimes they tell the truth. They don't lie. They tell the truth. They put the Moors where they need to be. But to your point, my brother.
Yes, sir.
When you said, now Stanley Lane Poole book, I want to say golden. It's not gold. Is it Golden Age of the Moors? No, it's not Golden Age of the Moors, but it's a Stanley Lane Poole book.
Yes.
He says that when the Moors fell in Spain, it set the world back 1,000 years.
That's fact.
Right? So everybody did see that as the end, right? Now, when you bring up that this union was considered or was the first nation state, and we're living 1492 in reverse, there's a book that came out in the 1800s, and it was a book that 8th grade students had to read, junior high school. And the book was titled, "The Founding of America is an Outgrowth of the Spanish Conquest of the Moors."
I have the book.
See that? You got it.
And
see that?
It's so powerful. That book, see, okay. I tell my members, for instance, in the temple and other people, I hammer this into them. Data and information, historical information and data is good and it's important. But what's infinitely more important is the narrative in which it fits.
Absolutely.
That's what's more. Narrative has always been the secret. You know what I mean? Narrative has always been the secret. You see? So.
No, I want to let you finish because I want to cut you off. Please go. Yeah.
You know, your narrative has always been the secret. So we've been given the 1619 Jamestown, Virginia narrative.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We've been given the narrative that, we were just running around savages with bones on our nose and y'all civilized us.
Right.
And so we fight against the narrative, not having our own narrative, right? Having a decolonized or pre-colonization narrative.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So everything we do after the fact is therapeutic at best. You see? And so, like, for instance, you all know this, but for the viewers, we were socialized into believing that slavery, the African transatlantic slave trade, was commerce. No, it became commerce. It began as warfare.
Yes,
you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And see, just knowing that changes everything, because the next question you ask is, who was at war?
This is what I was pointing out on the prior video with the invasion of Morocco.
Just pause,
because
send to your camera, my brother, real quick, Ilamir. Send to your camera so we can see your full face. Yeah. That was perfect. Hold on, bring it back. Bring it back. A little bit more. No, a little bit more to the other side. To the other side. To the other side. To the other side. There we go. No, a little bit more. A little bit. You're losing me. Back. Nope, back.
Keep going.
Keep going. There we go. Perfect. Bingo. There we go.
That's in it.
That's it.
We good.
We got
all right, but yeah, so this is what I was bringing up before when we had the discussion about the opposition to the narrative that the European went into Africa and kidnapped people, because they've tried to change that element with the sold African narrative, right?
Yes.
But when we look at what happened with the invasion of Morocco, that's exactly what happened. They attacked it, invaded it, and they took captives, and people were deported, depopulated, and sold into slavery. But that part of the slavery narrative is cut from the transatlantic narrative because they were shipping the Moors to Iberia. Then
Correct.
they were shipped out to America and other places, right? So they cut
Correct,
that off. So
brother.
what they do is they feed us 1619 narrative because that starts 200 years after Morocco was invaded. You see, they invaded Morocco in 1415, right? This is
Right.
before Granada fell. This is before
Yes.
uh uh between Isabella and Ferdinand and all that. They were
And
already
Ferdinand.
hitting Morocco, for
It's
almost
facts.
200 years. So as they were able to establish themselves there, because even still today, they have Ceuta, the city, which is closer to Spain, right? But it's under Spanish sovereignty today because they
Yes.
took it in 14.
Mm,
Yes.
And that's the area where the king was arrested by the Spanish authorities. You remember that? Some years back
Mm.
when the Moroccan
Yeah.
king got arrested, he
mm,
Yes.
was in, he
mhm,
was in Ceuta. Ceuta
mm,
is geographically in Morocco, formerly part of Morocco's sovereignty, but today it's under Spanish sovereignty. So if you in Ceuta, you're in Morocco, but
mm,
it's governed by Spain, right?
mm, mm,
So
mhm,
the point is they still got that today, which is just testament to having dominated, that particular region. You know what I mean?
mm,
So as it just all go back to what I was saying about the idea that the white man came into Africa and kidnapped people,
mm,
that's really going back to the invasion of Morocco. When we get
That's
into
mm,
the
right, brother.
African soul African narrative, this is 200 years later when they done made contacts with different tribes that are at war with each other, etc. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
mhm, mhm.
two things
And I want to
two
speak
things
to
can be true at the same time.
Correct.
right.
That's a fact.
I want to speak to that, but I want to double on your point, brother Sharif, about
Yes.
how framing and narratives.
Yes.
Now, there's something called the reticular activating system,
Yes,
RAS,
sir. Yes,
right?
sir.
And it's a study in neurology
Yes.
that says when you see something, like for instance, to give people example to make it simple, if you see a car, you go buy a car, and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere on the road, right? That's called a reticular activating system.
That's right.
You notice it because you're paying attention to it.
Because you're paying attention.
So they say for you to be, it's used in a lot of entrepreneurial circles. If you want to be successful, you have to change or reframe the way you see things.
Got it.
So if you want
You
to
got it.
see if you want opportunity, you have to see opportunity, and then
Yes.
opportunity will appear, right? There's also
That's
in my
big, brother.
I'm gonna go there, I told you, we smashing atoms today, my brother. We're smashing atoms today, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Another point is neuro-linguistic programming,
Yes. NLP.
NLP, right?
Mhm.
So you can program yourself neurologically from the words you speak linguistically. So you have these things called 7 identity statements, things that are core
Mm.
to your identity that you have to say and you have to iterate. And then there's other systems that you have to do in order to meet that requirement. And so just
Yes.
merging that with the point that I'm making is that I learned through a lot of litigation over the years
Yes.
that narratives and framing is the special sauce that you
Everything.
spoke of.
It
It's
really
everything.
is.
Because if you don't have a proper narrative
You're done.
or framing of something, then you won't make the connections necessary to make the change because the
Got it, brother.
change is internal.
You got it.
So when the brother speaks about how they framed this thing and talked about 1619 and Jamestown, that's where everything started. And Elamir Al-Mansur brought up the fact that they don't bring up the Portuguese and the battles that took on the coast of North Africa and Morocco. What
Yes.
we're effectively doing is framing ourselves to understand things from the conqueror's perspective. because they say
Or
power is the ability to define someone else's reality and
Define
have them
someone else's
accept it
reality.
as their own.
And without yours
Right.
being defined
Right.
or redefined and modified in the process.
There we go. So
Yo.
I
right.
say all that to say what we're establishing as we talk about before we even get to some of the other elements of the modern day discussion, we just gave you the framing and the proper narrative of the last 5
Yes.
so that
Yes.
people can understand what's going on today, because today is just a remixed version of the Reconquista.
Bingo. To that point, I want to add something to Brother
Please,
Al
please do.
Mansour's point,
Modern.
because he took it
It's
there,
modern.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
so 2 things. In 14, and then again, for you gentlemen, I'm preaching to the choir, but for the audience,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Mm-hmm.
The year 1442, 1441, as Brother Al Mansour just pointed out, but it began before that. But in the year 1441, this Portuguese military man, Goncalves, and his partner Tristal, they were on the west coast of Africa.
Uh-huh.
They,
Uh-huh.
yep, and they snatched
Yeah.
up a whole family, like 9 people, right?
Yeah.
And enslaved them, and then reported it to King Henry. King Henry then reported it to Pope Eugene IV. Pope Eugene IV was so excited in 1442, he drafted the papal bull Ilias QAC Pro Divini, which is the official green light for the African transatlantic slave trade, where he authorized the Portuguese Order of Mary and Christ to begin raids on the west coast of Africa. And he literally called it a new crusade, or continuing the crusade against the Saracens. He literally said that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how
Wow.
it began.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, I want to read you all something, and I'm going to send you the clip for it too.
Okay.
This comes from a dissertation, a doctor's dissertation written by a gentleman by the name of Ernest Porter Jr. And it's titled, and this was for Georgetown University, for the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, Georgetown University, for the doctor's degree in Doctor of Philosophy and History.
Okay.
The title of the paper was Morocco in the Early Atlantic World. Yo,
Yeah.
y'all are sitting
Familiar.
down.
Yeah, we sit there again. Yeah.
Wait a minute, pause. Why am I even reading this? I got this.
Hey, you know that,
It just
like
hit- it
honest,
just
but
hit me
you
just
know
now.
what we do? Hey, when you at this level, man, we share information, we pick information, we get
Yo,
it.
I forgot.
Still
I
sharp and still.
I saw you guys cite this.
Still sharp and still.
Yeah.
I'll just read it for the sake of the audience. For Western Sahara has been part and parcel of Morocco, dating back to the nomadic, semi-nomadic, to the most recent sedentarization of the mixed people of the Sanhaja, Amazigh, Arabs, and Black Africans, who unified under the direct rule of the Moroccan authorities, at least since the 11th century, under the Amazigh Almoravid Empire. Followed by that of the Almohads of the postmodern Arab Muslim period, extending from Niger, Mali, reaching to the Ghana Empire, Senegal, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Portugal, and Spain. It is this Muslim period which is the root of its problems, as Spain could never forget or forgive the reign of the Amazigh Empire over Spain. A similar resentment felt by successive Algerian governments since they became an independent state in 1962. Like you said, dear brother, this is the continuation of the Crusades, my brother.
Absolutely.
That's literally what we're living in right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to continue to move the needle forward, I just want to point this out. They talk about how we've been oppressed for 400 years.
Yes.
One time I had a conversation with this elderly European woman, and she told me, she's like, I'm going to put an end to this. I want to apologize to y'all for your people and you for oppressing y'all for as long as we have. I said, no need. I want to apologize for what we did to your people for 800 years.
Bingo.
And it was being facetious, of course, because we ruled them double the time.
Double the time, brother.
That they had
double the time
over us. And in all actuality, the continuation of what we see now, you see buzzwords, Islam, blacks, browns, minorities, right? All of the black, brown, because as you go back, you got Blackamoor, Tawny Moor, right? When they started separating the
You
Moors
got it.
into these different color casts, because
That's right.
at some point they started, because Tawny mean brown.
That's what it means.
You see what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
light
Yes,
brown
it
or whatever
does.
derivative. So
Yes.
at some point, those things get dropped, the more gets dropped, and you just got the color,
You
right?
just got the color.
So the reality of what's happening today is a remix or a approach to
Yes.
the thing that made them successful in the
Got it.
Reconquista of
You got
Spain.
it. You
So
got it.
what people call today white supremacy is actually the doctrine of discovery, the Christian doctrine of
Period.
discovery, which is a succession of the papal bulls and edicts
That's what
from
it
the
is.
'60s all the way down to, like you said, the 1440s. And I also wanna add this piece to it, and I'll land my plane here. It was Noble Drew Ali who told us, "You are home."
The European is 3,000 miles from home. He's got to take on some water.
Right. So all of these people who say they Aboriginal Indigenous, Moors introduced that narrative and framing to the community. It would not be
Period.
such if it weren't for the Moors.
It's a fact, brother.
Let's
That's
get
a
that
fact.
clear.
Let's get it clear.
Because what you have to understand is when you understand the voyages of the trade, because really the part of this framing, I'll land the plane here, the ultimate framing that we have to understand is, are we compatible with America? Is Islam compatible with America? Anything indigenous is pre-Columbian. And Islam and our people, the Moors, have been here.
It's fact.
Trading back and forth.
That's a fact.
For eons.
That's a fact.
You understand? The
Yes.
European, via his Reconquista or Inquisition in Spain, got a hold of the maps of the New World.
That's right.
And created a campaign to interrupt the trade.
You got it.
So when you
That's right.
get
What? I'll
No, I
let my
was gonna
plane
say
there.
when you get to it, the European is the Muwalads and the Sakalibas. Those are his
Who are that?
identities in Iberian. So the Muwalads were the ruling Visigoth families that were there when the Muslim Moors arrived. And they converted, they voluntarily converted to Islam with the
Yes.
intent of one day taking back over. Right?
That's right.
So the Sakalibas are the different slaves, the Slavs, the Frank, whoever was being enslaved in the European Christian kingdoms ended up
Yes.
in Iberia, and they were known as Sakalibas, right?
Sakalibas.
Because the various European Christian kingdoms were at war with each other, and they were enslaving each other. And they were selling their slaves to the Jews, and the Jews were selling them to the Moors, right?
Yep.
So many of them ended up in Iberia as soldiers, workers, etc., and many of them ended up in North Africa.
That's right.
But I say that the European we talking about now though is the Muwalads. This is who learned the culture, who learned the language, who learned the mechanics of civilization from the Moors directly and attempted to imitate and replicate what he learned. This is why a lot of the white supremacists online, when they want to provide an image of medieval Moors, they'll show you the images of these pale individuals on the
Yes.
walls in Spain today. Those
Yes. Yes.
Oh man, the sister.
Oh. Oh, wrapping up's getting good.
Oh man, you got the. Yeah, we
So he's
gotta.
reconnected.
Yeah, you gotta. He'll reconnect in.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's touching on some very powerful things. It's we're dealing. That's another thing. That's another weapon.
Right.
This war of narratives
Right.
is the shell game on identity. You know what I mean? And again, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know, like for instance, original and true Arabs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The true Arab is virtually indistinguishable. The true Arab has Africoid phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
Period. The end.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But we've been socialized into thinking or believing that Arabs are a race
Mm-hmm. Yes.
separate
Mm-hmm.
from Africans,
Mm-hmm.
despite the fact that our Sudanese, come on, our
No. Go
Sudanese
there.
brothers,
Go there.
yeah, our Sudanese brothers, our Libyan brothers, right, are considered in European sociology,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and watch this. Dr. James Small said this. I was going to use this, but I didn't because it would probably cause the riot back when I had the debate with Brother Reggie, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Dr. James Small's in the audience that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dr. James Smalls is on camera telling Sanetta that
Mm.
all of West Africans are Beni Kanana,
Mm.
meaning
Mm.
they call themselves sons of Canaan.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
recognize the connection. Oh, and his camera's 100% clear.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
The good thing about this, real quick though, even though it was blurry on the playback, this platform is so good it would have cleared them up anyway. But we good. It's good. I'm happy we
Let's
got you
stop.
nice and clear.
Let's stop.
Okay. Yeah.
But,
So yeah.
it shows the connection between Southern Arabia and the Arabian Peninsula all the way to West Africa, going back and forth, over thousands of years. It shows there was a connection. And as you all know, with the shell game regarding the European imperialist shell game of identity, how they want to say that sub-Saharan Africans are totally different from those north of the Sahara, right? And they're somehow not Africans. That's the whole Hamitic hypothesis. And you guys know.
No. But it's good. Please go there.
Yeah.
This is us discussing to the audience. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when we people like us get together, we forget that we talking to everybody and we just talking among ourselves. But please do, because
True.
the funny thing about that, and I want you to continue, I just want to put this in there. The funny thing about this, my brother, is we opened up the first two shows. We opened up discussing this very same thing.
That's crazy.
Now, what's phenomenal about what you're saying is that we've touched on the fact that so when Ilamir brought up the Mualids and Sakalibas.
Yes.
So let's go into Christendom. You had the Eastern Roman Empire, Holy Roman Empire, and the Western Holy Roman Empire. The Eastern was categorized as the Byzantines, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Komnenos was actually a Moor who was an emperor of the Byzantine Empire
Empire.
Right?
That's right.
So there were Moors all throughout. This conversation takes so many layers because when people say, oh, the Moors was this, that, scientists say if you want to prove something happened in the past, you have to prove it's happening today. All we have to do is look at the multi-allegiances of our people in all these different nations, and you can see that it's the same thing going on today. I want to say this part.
Yes, sir.
People have to understand that the Mualid and Sakaliba version of that happening on the eastern side, like you said, when the Abbasids and the Umayyads broke apart, that fractured our empire. Right? So on the eastern side, you have what you call Arabized. See, we showed the earlier records that show that Arab meant someone who was basically black. Udma, meaning, and Adam comes from Udma. Udma is black.
That's
and
right.
You got Asmar. You see what I'm saying?
Asmar. That's right. That's right.
For brown or dark brown, right?
That's right.
And so today, Arab means anyone who speaks Arabic.
Isn't that something?
Right. That's the whitewash though.
Right.
That's the whitewash. This is how they whitewash our different ethnic groups.
100%.
Or, but this is what I think we have to learn.
Yes.
As a people, right?
Yes.
Because all of this happened because at the end of the day, we decided to provide our information to outsiders.
Come on now.
If we never taught them Arabic, would they be speaking Arabic today? Would they be known as the Arabs today? I'm just
I see.
putting
You know
that
what?
out there, and
You
it's
know.
not just Arabic. It's everything. It's every language that we
See, me and my
transmuted.
good brother here, we differ. We differ often on this point. I get what you're saying. You're right. But
Yes,
as the fathers of civilization, as the mothers and fathers of civilization,
real
it
talk.
is our duty to civilize and teach
Civilized.
those who are ignorant.
That's right.
So it's a
But
byproduct of us civilizing those who need
it
it.
is. It is, and it was, but I think it comes down to perspective. It's a matter of
Does.
perspective, because on their end of things, the sentiments aren't shared.
And true. Why? Now watch this. Now here I'm gonna come in with the with the middle. Here we go. We measure time, right? We used to have a saying in the Moorish science of America. We measure time by cycle ages, and the gate to every age we deem a milestone of the journey of the race. Now, why is that significant? Because the European measures time linearly,
That's right. That's very
right?
true.
You all know the Quran is not written in a monochronic form. It's not written one,
Man.
then two, then three, then four. It says,
Wow. I
and
don't know.
remember, we said da about one thing,
Just dropped.
and then it'll go on.
If we didn't pass on these things, it's kind of like, all right, today I'm gonna use FBA just for the sake of discussion. Foundational Black Americans, right? The traffic light, and all the inventions that came out of Black America that are all around the world today, in every country, right? Many of these people don't even know that the inventors were Black Americans in many cases, right? And they're benefiting off of the Black American intellect, right? While at the same time having discriminatory, prejudicial ideologies about the very people that created the air conditioner in your house or the refrigerator you got, and so on and so forth. If we wasn't passing these things on,
I see.
it's
I understand what you're saying,
can't
but
go back. I'm just
it's not
saying,
even necessarily about going back. Is that act our undoing, or is our inter conflict, is our internal group dynamic conflict the undoing of us? You see? Because
internal group. Okay,
because when we look at when we look at
I think it's a balance.
when we look at what happened, it really is us having internal conflicts and fighting to a degree where those internal conflicts take precedence over the collective agenda.
No, that's correct, because with the Mu'alad element, right? They were waiting, they were plotting, they were sitting, they were scoping, they were spooks by the door. Spooks by the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it took them to exploit the beefs, or exploit the results of the beefs between the Black Arabs
Mm-hmm.
and the Black Berbers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there was beefs between the Black Arabs and the Black Berbers, because the Black Arabs, they came to the Berbers with Islam, so they had the Arab supremacy
Mm-hmm.
mentality per
Mm-hmm.
se. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? When
Mm-hmm.
it came to dealing with the Berbers, you know what I mean? They
Mm-hmm.
felt they were first class, but they all Black. You know what I'm saying? It's all Black folks. There's some distinctions, facial features, etc. They still had beefs. You know what I'm saying? And they carried those beefs into Iberia. The Mu'alads scoped them, earned them, and figured out how to exploit
Absolutely.
coming up off those beefs. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it is what it is.
But that's the point. That's the point I'm making. It wasn't the humanitarian work of civilizing them that was our undoing. It was the internal conflict. Like, you got to remember, there were hundreds of years of what's considered the petty kings wars in Andalus. You see what I'm saying? It was Moorish powers teaming up with Christian powers against other Moorish and Christian powers. And
Mhm.
the Christian powers decided, okay, we're going to stop fighting each other and unite against the Muslim powers, right? And
Mhm.
so the Muslim powers didn't do that. The
But
Moorish
see,
powers didn't do that. They to the point of being internally weakened. And that's what ultimately leads to our undoing. Even when you look at what was happening in Africa, it was the internal conflicts that weakened us. Because if you're at the top, if you're ruling and you're leading, you have to maintain that power by maintaining that dominance. And the only, like they say, a house divided cannot stand. You see, so it was that internal conflict that was technically the undoing and not the humanitarian aspect of teaching and uplifting this fallen part of humanity.
indeed, indeed, can't dispute it. Can't dispute it. You know, but I still, have quarrel
Hmm.
with how things manifested
Mm.
in modern times to where now you have
We measure time in cycle ages, right? The way my instructor, my martial arts instructor, he said it to us a long time ago. He said, "You Westerners think like squares. We think like circles." I said, "What you
Mm.
mean?" He said, "You can't run no car on no square wheels." I'm like, "Okay, we get
Mm.
that. What do you mean?" This is what he said. He said, "Now there's 4 points on that circle." I go, I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Okay, hard times create strong people. Strong people create easy times. Easy times create weak people. Weak people create hard times."
There we go.
We're
Yes, sir.
living that right now. The European, through generations of creating a heaven on earth for himself at the expense of everyone else, has made himself soft.
Mm. Absolutely.
Mhm.
That was us at
Yes.
the end of the
Yes.
15th century.
Yeah. 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 Cycle. Time is cyclical. And in,
Mhm.
and in quantum physics too, it's interesting because in quantum physics, the past, present, and future is happening simultaneously,
Simultaneous.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it also in quantum physics, they say that time an atom reacts differently when it's observed versus when it's not observed. When you're
Brother,
looking at it. You see? So found what's profound about what you're saying is that the part that you came back in on, we was talking about, and it matches what you're saying, whether or not it was us not gatekeeping. And
come
we
on
know
now.
our fraternal brotherhoods were founded for that express purpose. So that
Fact.
so that those things are minimized.
It's a
You see
fact.
what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, but I question my brother on if it was a lack of gatekeeping or the internal conflicts that caused us to allow, because we got to remember there was a petty king's war for about couple hundred years in Andalus, again with
Mhm.
Moors and Christians were teaming up against other Moors and Christians, and the Christians just
That's a fact.
decided we're not going to keep doing this. We're going to team up against the Moors. But the
That's a
Moors
fact.
never teamed up. But to your point, they say it was decadence, and overindulgence that led to the Moors Andalus losing power.
So
Mhm.
Jose Pimienta Bay said it like this. He said, we gave up Moorish virtues for Spanish vices.
Wow.
Mm,
Mm.
Yep.
mm,
That's
Makes
how he
perfect
put it.
sense
mm.
because there were also doctrinal disputes and disputes from
Yes.
different Islamic scholars in madhabs in Morocco who refused to send any more troops to Andalus because
Correct.
they said you guys are not representing the creed properly. You're
Isn't
not
that
Well,
living
something?
by the laws properly.
That's
but you
right.
gotta also consider that in context of the fact that Morocco had been being attacked for the last 60, 50 years prior to 1492.
Correct.
Absolutely.
You gotta look at that.
That's a fact,
Absolutely.
brother.
And it doesn't
Granada was the last
appear
stronghold.
right. So it doesn't appear that Granada was showing up
Mm.
when Morocco was getting hit.
Mm.
That's the point.
That's big.
It don't
That's
look
that's a
like they
big
was
point.
popping out. You
Right.
That's
know.
big. You brother Almanzor, you brought up something earlier that I wanted to touch on about information passing,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. Now, I mean, of course, there's different ways to look at it, but
Human
one of the
nature.
things that that so I'm involved heavily in a number of different organizations, esoteric, occult, etc. So the foundation of the Western magical and occult tradition, all the scholars in this field openly state that it came about as a transfer of knowledge from the Moors during the medieval era.
Absolutely.
James
Absolutely.
Wasserman is a very famous occult scholar. He wrote a book called The Templars and the Assassins, and he talks about it openly.
Right. Right.
Openly. He talks about it openly. It's no mistake, or it's not a puzzle when you look at the history of the Rosicrucian order and how their mystical leader or founder, Christian Rosenkreutz, studied in Fez, Morocco, and Damascus, and learned from an order, a Sufi order called the Order of the Rose. And how in the 18th degree, the ne plus ultra degree of Scottish Rite Masonry, the Order of the Rose Cross, they asked the question, what is the hour? When the cubic stone unfolded into the mystic rose.
Now, now look, my brother. Casually on one of the clips I put out, casually I was talking about the transfer that specific thing, and I didn't go as in depth as that, but I simply stated that when you reach certain levels in certain orders,
Yes.
you get into, and so I got brothers popping out giving me death threats and all type of stuff, and I'm like, listen, as a Moor, this is just common knowledge to us.
Common knowledge.
I didn't mean to,
That's
put your
fact.
thing out there, but this is just common knowledge to us. And
It's a fact.
in the book, and I want to ask you about this too. In the book, Islamic Origins of Freemasonry,
Brother.
I want you to go there because you said you talked to the author. Now, the first Masonic order, if I'm correct, and according to that book, was in the earldom of Moray, in an abbey in the earldom of Moray.
Correct.
And we know that the Pope was upset with the Knights Templar because when they were in the Crusades, they were getting knowledge from the Muslim Moors who were running Jerusalem.
Absolutely.
And so the Baphomet symbol, a lot of people think that represents the devil.
Right.
And in many ways, it does, but it was made to mock the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. It's an
anagram for Muhammad, brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Stuff for the law. But the point is that they accused the Knights Templar of worshiping Prophet Muhammad, peace blessed be upon him, and i.e. making him the devil and making this symbol, and chased them underground.
Yo, to your point, really quick, in the Moorish American questionnaire, 101 questions, we have a question. We say, give 5 names that were given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Answer, Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. So on the one level, we can look at it as different versions of our own nafs. Okay, fine.
Right.
But in the historical, it says, give 5 names that were given. Well, the question is, who was doing the giving? Answer, the Pope and the Vatican.
Right.
That's what they did to Moorish culture.
Yes.
That is how it became, the Western magical tradition became a repository for old world Moorish culture.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and to your point, we spoke about this in in yesterday's show, actually, where you then begin to get this demonization of black and an association with the devil, and that being the color of the Moors. And to a further point, we even track down the story of Robin Hood.
Yes.
Going back to Al-Qadr, the green one.
The green one.
So this transfer of knowledge from the Moors to the European sons, i.e. Christians,
you got it,
is the basis of esoteric fraternalism.
It's actual fact. Actual fact.
The modern world.
Actual fact, brother.
But we got a question. We got a question. The transformation to those Christians are those Christian Moors, or is it the Albion?
No, watch this. It's funny you say that, right? Hughes DePayens, one of the founders of
Depends.
Hughes
He
DePayens, all
going there.
these
He
guys.
going there. He going there.
The grandson of the Caliph.
You already know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was so much, and Brother Mansour, you brought it up earlier. There was so much, not just cross-cultural pollination, but cross-initiations and marriages. And there was a lot of that, especially with the Abbasids. A lot of it, brother.
Yes, yes, as well as the Umayyads as they trekked across North Africa. See, and I know you said you spoke to the author. You can share as much as you like. I'm not pressing you for all of it, but I know you said you spoke to one of the authors of that book. And could you explain that a little bit? Like, how was that?
So first of all, it was very enlightening. But they explained some things that some of it I kind of knew, others I kind of inferred, but they verified. First, one of the first things I wanted to know was like, yeah, well, what motivated y'all to write that book?
Yeah.
And so I spoke to the Muslim brother, right? He was speaking about I'm drawing a blank on the brother's name, on the European's name, but he's Scottish. He's he's Scottish nobility and a high-ranking Scottish Mason, not Scottish white. Scottish. So, the Scots are national enemies of the British.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, how you say, the enemy of your enemy
is
okay.
my friend.
And sometimes two quote-unquote enemies are at odds, so much so that one of them, to spite the other, will throw out info that neither one of them wanted you. You see what I'm saying?
Phenomenal.
That was the motivation behind that whole book.
Wow.
And that same book has a part in it where it talks about the Europeans learning the current government structure that we got now, like where we have departments of this and departments of that and all that, learning all that from the Moors.
Yes.
And it didn't hit me enough until I came across the Mu'alads. Because when you go into the Mu'alads, that's when you learn that they were employed in the Moorish courts and departments and things over in Iberia. You know what I mean? So when you put that together with what's in that book, then it gives you a full picture.
Dear brother, you just made me think of another researcher, another European I learned a ton from. He passed away, the late Lawrence Gardner. Lawrence Gardner wrote Bloodline of the Holy Grail, Genesis of the Grail Kings.
Yes.
He was the historiographer royale for the Dragon Court for the Knights Templar Order, right?
Wow.
So not Knights Templar Freemasonry, the Knights Templar Order.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he, and again, so they carry the actual bloodline records of the family of Jesus. So him, just like the author of the book you just mentioned, they threw out things that we're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to know about theurgy and how theurgical practice fits into the biblical and the Quranic narrative. And for instance, you all know from the biblical narrative, the four Gospels, there's two religio-political parties. Pharisees, Sadducees, right?
Yep.
There was a third that we know about, but it ain't mentioned in the Bible. The Essenes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they are mentioned, just not mentioned as the Essenes. So theurgy, as you all know, is the religious practice of the embodiment of divine principle.
Right.
So Gabriel is a title. You know what I'm saying? And the duty of the Jabrail, was to make announcements of the emergence or the appearance of an avatar. Hence, he's the one that appears to Mary. He's also who appeared to Prophet Muhammad.
Peace blessed be upon him, huh?
Please bless. Right. You see what I'm saying? So he appears to say, hey, you ain't going crazy. You're hearing these, right? He appears to Mary, hey, be easy. We sent our spirit to you in the form of a well-made man. You see what I'm saying? So they bring out, Lawrence Gardner does, also other authors, that the Jabrail of Jesus' time was Joseph of Arimathea. See what I'm saying?
See now, what you're doing is, I told y'all we breaking atoms tonight because I know I'm gonna get all kind of texts, emails, and it's like y'all gotta understand, knowledge comes in degrees.
It does.
So if you're not ready, just tune out. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a level of understanding that once you get past the rudimentary levels, and this is why you have systems of initiation,
That's why you have it, brother.
because you can go crazy
Yes.
if you're not ready
Yes.
and prepared at levels to receive certain information.
100%, brother. That's 100% the degree system in any true learning system. You have a degree system. Why? Because each degree is an initiation. And you have to have solid steps to rest your psyche on, or you crack the psyche.
Absolutely.
You know what
I've
I'm
seen it
saying?
happen to people. I've seen it
Yes.
happen to people. They gone, they because they wasn't in some type of system of initiation or
Yeah.
was delivered that information or that data in a certain way, they went crazy. Their mind couldn't
Yes.
conceive of, the different things that appear to be conflicting, but it's not actually conflicting. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So this is a dialogue is at the highest echelon.
Yes,
This
sir.
is not for the layman, even though we're talking
Right.
to the public. Okay?
Exactly.
So if you get it, you
Exactly.
get it. If you don't, you don't. All right?
Exactly.
So
So I want to continue with that point about what the brother was saying. So Lawrence Gardner and the order that he's in, they carry the records of the families of Jesus. The church, the early Catholic Church, called it, the Greek term was desposny. In other words, the family of Jesus, whom they later Opus Dei were tracking down to kill.
right.
Right. But anyway, they tracked Mary and her movement from Jerusalem to Egypt, from Egypt to Northwest Africa, and from Northwest Africa into Spain and then France, brother, where according to their order, she established an order.
And what's fascinating about what you're saying
Yes.
is in that book, Islamic Origins of Freemasonry, it breaks down how Jesus's brother, James,
Yes.
his daughter or granddaughter is a grandmother. We know they were hundreds of years apart, but she's in the line of descendancy of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And what that book lays out is how these noble bloodlines tracked across and married and intermarried, and how Paul, this is key, Paul was given leave or permission to practice the Hebraic or Judaic laws without observing the dietary laws.
That's a
So
fact.
a lot of times people don't understand how these things all transpire and don't see. And you know what I equate it to, and I know you're going to know. I know you're
Yes,
going to
sir.
know because you're a master martial artist. I always give people this analogy. I say the Gracie family.
Yes.
One Gracie master teaches his sons,
Yes.
and they spread out around the world with different systems,
Right.
all rooted to the same system.
All rooted. That's it.
That's the Abrahamic faiths right there.
The people of the book, brother.
Exactly.
Al-Kitab, right?
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it's important that, and these things, the reason I said we smashing atoms tonight, the reason these things is important is because as what we did for the last hour and a half, the last 90 minutes or so, is lay down groundwork. I don't know how much time you got, brother. I want to be respectful of your time, but we're getting into
I'm good,
it
bro.
tonight.
I'm good.
Okay, we're getting into it tonight. We just laid down for the last 90 or so minutes the contextual understanding
Absolutely.
to perceive what's happening today.
That's a fact.
Right.
Okay. So as we move the needle forward, right? Now that we laid down.
But before you hit the scratch on the disc jockey, let me just point out there, because I heard y'all talking about Jesus or Isa, and it should be noted that one of his brothers established a church in either Morocco or Mauritania, one of them. Yeah.
brother Mansour, before you cut out, right? That was what I was leading to.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Lawrence Gardner tracks the movements of Mary through Egypt, then to North Africa, and then into Spain, and then into France.
Mm,
Yes.
mm,
Yes. Yeah,
It's all there,
exactly. Exactly.
you know?
And I just want to point this out. Now that
Yes.
there's a site that I frequent all the time. It's called medievalpoc.tumblr.com. And this is a global scholastic work from scholars from all around the world who got together and document all of basically the Moors throughout history in European medieval art.
Hold
Mm.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. You just put me on to something.
Yeah.
What was that again? What was
It's
that again?
called I'm gonna pull it up right here so you can see the actual link, but it's called medieval poc.tumblr TUMBLR.com. And then you just go to the archives and you'll see a ton of just a ton of things. Man, I just had a good one I want to show. And so I just want to bring this up because when you talk about Mary and tracking her to France,
Yes.
it's also key to understand the records that the French have. And
Match.
yeah, and I wanted to show one of the records in French, one of the books they have that is, and I'm pulling it up right now, and I'm going to share the screen if it loads
Yeah.
properly, of what Cleopatra looked like in their records.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
So here you go. I'm going to
Mhm.
share the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. Can y'all see that?
Ooh, I've
Yep.
seen that before.
Yep. Yeah, we we got that on the gram. You
Ooh,
ain't had to
that's
go to
probably where I saw it.
POC.
Oh yeah, my bad. I know we do got a lot of
No, but shout out.
yeah. No doubt.
We got that
My
on the
bad, my
gram.
bad,
Pointing
my
that
bad.
out there.
We
Again, listen, y'all have
only
put in over the years major work,
that's
bro.
honest.
Honest.
That's
Major
honest.
work. Major work. Y'all have put in major work for real.
That's honest for the acknowledgement, my brother. And I
Yes,
just want to
sir.
say, my bad, Elamir, El
No,
Mansour.
no, it's all good. It's all good.
We do have a repository, but the reason I use this is because sometimes people try to come at us, even though we put in work, they'll say, "Oh, yeah, I just made this stuff up." This is
Right.
actually something from like academic scholars from around the world, different universities who came together to create it. So that's the only reason I wanted to source it from there. So they
Beautiful.
wouldn't say that we just snatched it from somewhere and made it up. But this
Yeah.
is who they in the French records document as Cleopatra.
Right.
You see?
Right.
And notice how she's dressed.
Yeah.
You see? And this right here is also of different Moorish kings at that time. So you can see the difference between the complexions. You see?
Right.
Dear
Right.
brother Mansa, if you haven't heard of this brother, there's this Islamic scholar out of Brazil.
Mm.
And he and I have been friends for a number of years. He runs a ridiculously, incredibly detailed page. That he also has the Facebook presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sent it to you in your Facebook inbox of
Okay.
his page. Our brother's name is Mansour Peixoto. He's Portuguese. He'll tell you, "Oh, I'm Moorish." Yeah.
Okay.
He's Portuguese,
Mhm.
Brazilian, but he'll say, "Listen, I'm a Moorish guy." That's what he'll tell you. And
Okay, I'm pulling it up
again,
now.
not just Islamic history, but Islamic American history, brother.
Mm.
But his narrative is different. He doesn't have the same, bro.
Mm.
It's crazy. You see the page, brother?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. So, and okay, now that leads me to the other point. Okay, can y'all see that? This is the one.
That's it.
Wow. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to tap in and see what the brother's talking
Your
about.
brother, he's done so much. Like, oh my goodness, he had some pieces showing, the cowboy, quote unquote cowboy culture with the gauchos, the leather things, and all that stuff. He said is Moorish, all of it,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
all of it.
Mm. Hey, the interesting thing about that is the cowboy hat, right? That's
That's the
Yes,
first.
a Moorish custom,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Well, no,
tacos come from shawarma. So when they were here, they couldn't source the ingredients a certain way, so they ended up making it tacos. But tacos come from shawarma. Shawarma, chicken
Well,
shawarma,
yeah,
beef
shawarma,
shawarma.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the first cowboys is the term cowboy was associated with us.
Yeah.
You
absolutely,
know, if they
absolutely.
the quote unquote European had other identity, it would be cow this and cow that, but cowboy was reserved for the
Right.
so-called.
And so now that we're moving that needle forward, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
We have to touch on the Moorish Islamic presence in America,
Come on now. That's
right?
right.
Because
That's
what
right.
this now establishes for us is this establishes the contradiction to the notion that Islam and our people are not compatible with the ideals of America. And we
Right.
know that they are living off the virtues of the Islamic Moors. The reason we have a welfare system is from the zakat system
That's
of
right, brother.
Islam.
That's right.
That's why we have a welfare system.
That's a
We
fact.
know for a fact. In fact, the Supreme Court has a bust of now, not in Orthodox or Sunni or traditional tradition of Islam. We don't make idols of anything, but the Supreme Court had made a bust of the Prophet Muhammad, peace blessed be upon him, and regard him as one of the great lawgivers, along with Moses and Hammurabi.
That's right, brother.
So found the legal and lawful foundational structure of the United States recognizes Islam and the Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace blessed be upon him, as being integral to
Yeah,
the system of law. So when they talk about
Yeah.
Sharia and this, that, and third is not compatible, we know this to be false. In the
that's right.
context that
Yeah.
the system of religious freedom created the basis for all religions to have
Yes.
a place in America.
I mean,
Yes.
that very concept itself is coming from the Iberian experience.
Mm-hmm.
The Muslim Moors allowed the Jewish Moors to continue their faith. They allowed the Visigoth Christians to continue their faiths, and whoever else believed in this or that. I mean, you might have had to pay the jizra or
Right.
certain types of taxes and stuff, but we have that same system today. We're paying taxes. We had this type of tax, that type of tax. This is where they get these concepts.
That's right,
This is
brother.
where they got these ideas from.
That's
Those
right.
very same structures.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You
Brother,
know,
I'm
they
sending
just
you something regarding Moorish presence in the Americas. Hold on just a
Yeah,
second.
I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it up as you
Yeah, I'm
send it.
gonna give you. I retyped the text because it's difficult to read, but I retyped the text and I'm sending that to you right now. Boom.
Okay,
I just sent
perfect.
that as well.
Okay. All right. So let me pull that up for the people so we can.
Yes, sir. This was dialogue in Congress around is about there was debate in Congress about whether the United States should enter into the Mexican War. This is in the
Mm,
1840s, like around 1846,
mm, mm.
when George Ashman said these words.
Okay. I'm just gonna read it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna read it here. Okay. The stupendous deserts
Deserts. Yep.
excuse me, the stupendous deserts between the
mhm.
Nueces and the Bravo rivers are the natural boundaries between the Anglo-Saxon and the Mauritanian races. Their
Mhm.
Sure.
ends of the valley of the west, there Mexico begins. Thence Beyond the Bravo begins the Moorish people and their Indian associates, to whom Mexico properly belongs, who should not cross that vast desert if they could, as we, on our side, too, ought to stop there, because interminable conflicts must ensure our going south or their coming north of the gigantic boundary. While peace is cherished, that boundary will be sacred. Not till the spirit of conquest rages will the people on either side molest or mix each other. And wherever they do, one or the other races must be conquered, if not extinguished. This is from
Bingo.
June 1870, a Whig Party member of the U.S. House of Representatives from Massachusetts. Wow. 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 So what that is for the people, tell us what that establishes.
Well, wow. Okay. So first off, man, there's so many. Okay, this is where I'm gonna start at one point, and then I'm gonna go back in history. This point in history was a dialogue on the floor of Congress as to whether the United States should enter into the Mexican War. Now, mind you, we're talking around 1846 when this dialogue took place. Why is that important? The Dred Scott case was 1857.
Mm. Mm.
It wasn't that long ago.
Mm.
All right. Now, what a lot of people, this goes back to narrative again, the 1619 narrative, whatever, right? This goes back to narrative. Western history or world history from the Western perspective. They talk about Roman Empire, the Republic, its fall, rise of the Holy Roman Empire, its fall, and then 1492 Columbus sails the ocean. Whoa, 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 whoa. So they skip over a number of things. But one of the things that they do not want to talk about in world history from the Western perspective is Spanish colonization of the Americas.
Oh, yes. Man,
La
see,
Skip over
Florida.
Spanish
we was
colonization.
just talking about this yesterday. Please continue.
La,
Literally.
Skip over Spanish colonization, which happened over 100 years before English colonization.
La Florida.
Yes. New Spain, what's called New Spain, was the Caribbean, Florida, the southern states, and the western and west coast states.
All the way up to Detroit. All the way up into that area.
Thank you, brother.
I had to bring some of these points up in discussion with a Dominican brother that was commenting on one of the Dominicans, me no black posts. And they were flexing their hybrid lineage, being part African, part Spaniard or European, and part native Indian per se, right? And my reply was, well, we have the same mixes. Maybe the percentages ain't the same, but we got the same mixes over here
Same mixes,
in
brother.
North America. And we were also under Spanish sovereignty.
Correct.
Long before English or British sovereignty.
Yes.
So, sometimes they often don't realize that when they talk to, they got to talk to us as if we haven't dealt with the conquistadors or the Spanish colonial powers. We had them up here too,
That's a fact, dear brother. And they're speaking, see, that's the other part too. We're fighting the war of narratives to shake off the cultural colonization. They're still proud of it.
Right.
That's
the difference.
Yeah,
That's the difference. But you was going somewhere though, my brother. If you remember, you was going somewhere.
Who, me?
Yeah, you was going with before Elamir interjected. You was going somewhere with it as far as New Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, New
Right.
Spain.
So as Elamir brought up before, right? And there were Moorish Spaniards. There were whole Moorish Islamic communities in the Americas. But you want to talk about some real foul, cruel, we erase you type policy. That's why it's very hard nowadays to find information on these things. It's very difficult, but it still exists. But they work very hard. There was a Native American who was in contact with old elders of the Lakota Nation. He was part of Lakotas, the so-called Sioux Indians. Meredith Quinn. Meredith Quinn wrote a number of books. One's called Timekeeper. Brother.
Really?
Now, mind you, he don't got nothing to do with the Moorish movement, bro. Nothing.
Wow.
I don't even know if he even knew about the Moorish movement.
Wow.
But in his book, he says that the Trail of Tears and other mass massacring of Native American tribes, the primary reason for it was to erase any evidence of pre-Columbian connection to the Moroccan Empire. That's what he said.
Whoa.
I can send you the reference.
Whoa.
It gets better. He said the number one, and this is something you guys already know, but I'm going to say it. The number one piece of evidence that they wanted to erase was Native Americans that could speak Arabic or Aramaic or Hebrew.
That's powerful.
That would make sense because that would kill the existing commerce between them and the Moors from the east.
Brother, he had names of old pre-Columbian treaties.
Wow.
Between Native American confederations and the Moroccan.
No way. What's the name of this book again?
I'm gonna send it to you. Time Walker.
Time
Meredith
Walker.
Quinn.
Time
Meredith
Walker.
Quinn. Yep, Time Walker. Meredith Quinn, brother.
Time Walker.
Yes, sir.
Meredith Quinn.
Yep, Meredith Quinn. You can find a book. You can find a.
Wow. Not every day I get to see. That's what I'm talking about. We breaking that. Not every day I get a new book that I get to order and say, oh, I got to dig into this. Wow.
And brother, his narrative, because now you know this. I'm saying the Native Americans, what Doctrine and Discovery did to them, the conservative side of how Europeans were dealing with the Native Americans, well, we just kill them. The liberal side was, no, don't kill them, just kill the Indian in them. And that's where the Indian schools came from. And literally, they were like, you got 30 days to learn this, and this in English, or we kill you. And that's why there's so many mass graves at these Indian schools.
Right.
Yeah, they
Quinn was the survivor.
Wow.
Portrayed that in what was that show with what's the actor from Indiana Jones? Man. The Indiana Jones actor.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford?
Yeah, Harrison Ford. What was the name of that series that came out? I think it was last year. And they had the Christian or the Catholic priests were killing the Indian kids in the school and burying them.
That's real.
Outside the school.
Yes.
Remember, there was a clip where they talked about the Moors in it. Remember the Catholic
I didn't see
priests?
the movie. I got to check that out.
It's a series. It's an episode. It was an episode where so the Catholic priest is trying to track down an escaped Indian girl. She escaped from the school. She killed a couple of them and got up out of there, right? After being tortured, right? So they pretty much alerted law enforcement, and they had U.S. Marshals helping try to track her down.
There we go. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to put this out. You keep going. I just wanted to make this available.
Yeah. But yeah, real quick. So there's a clip. It's on TikTok and all that, where the Catholic priest is having a discussion with two U.S. Marshals, and they all trying to track this Indian lady down. But it's nighttime, so they got like a little fire lit and everything.
Yeah.
And while they're talking, the Catholic priest says to the U.S. Marshals that Spain was ruled by black men for 800 years. And one of the U.S. Marshals bust out laughing. He just bust out laughing. The next thing you know, he got hit with an arrow.
Yeah. That's the prequel. That's the prequel to Yellowstone. That's the prequel series to Yellowstone. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Prequel series.
And just to add some further context, because there's another, where, like we talk about the diaspora wars, there's another conflict that is from those who consider themselves Aboriginal Indigenous, again, which is something the Moors introduced to the entire
The-
community,
That's a
right?
yeah.
fact.
So you can't be Indian and not Moorish, and this is the facts of it. In 1621, the word Indian was substituted for Moorish. With this
Mm,
single alteration, the original text was again transcribed in 1730. The source is Peabody Museum of American Archaeology and Ethnology, 1888, Harvard University volume.
Yeah. Yeah. That's related to Moctezuma.
yes.
Yeah, Montezuma.
Yeah, Montezuma. So
You know,
I
that's
think
also it's also reflected in a Catholic saint a Catholic conquistador who was later sainted,
Mm,
mm,
and they still celebrate him. It's interesting. His name was Santiago, and
mm.
his original name was Santiago Matamoras,
yeah,
and
the
they changed it to Santiago Mata Indios.
mm, mm,
There
Yep,
you go.
mm,
Look at that.
mm,
Look at
yep,
that.
mhm.
You can't. So again, and one of the things that because I have strong ties in the Sunni Muslim community,
yes,
and
sir.
I'm watching them get not a little but frazzled by what they're seeing from the politics of what's going on, the geopolitical landscape in
Correct,
America.
correct.
And I always try to explain to them that, see, although Mecca and Medina is in the
Mm-hmm.
east, and although
Mm-hmm.
many of the rites, the ritual rites that you guys have preserved
Yes.
there in the east, you don't have the jurisdiction here in America. The Moors have the jurisdiction here in America. So when you come here, you need to understand the history
Come on, brother.
of the Moors and Islam in
Come
America
on. It's the truth, brother.
so that
That's right.
you will be rooted in truth and rooted in a way where you have a clear understanding of who you should be aligning yourself with. Because many
Bingo.
of our brothers and sisters come here and choose not to align. Now, in Islam, if you go to a land, you're supposed to side with the oppressed people as a Muslim.
Got it, brother.
Okay.
That's the truth.
So
Mhm.
a lot of times they sequester themselves around the very same people who is giving them all that heat when they
Ain't
should have
that
been
something?
aligning with the Moors in particular, and even
That's
those
right.
who are not conscious of their Moorish identity but may practice the traditional system of Islam, instead of getting stuck in the differences of dogma, they need to
Got it.
understand who preserved the rights for Muslims and Islam in America, even before some of the brothers who came in the Sunni tradition put some good work in to preserve things in the legal
Got it.
system. But there's a
Got it.
history from the
Yes.
times we're speaking of all the way to
Yes.
the times of Noble Drew Ali to Elijah Muhammad.
It's the
Muhammad
truth.
Ali was the one who fought in the courts
That's
to
right.
be able to not have to go to war
To
because
not
of your
have to
religious
go.
belief. There
That's
were
right. He
Moors.
sacrificed the championship in the process.
Absolutely. There were
Mhm.
Moors from the Moorish Science Temple of America who fought
Yes.
for the right to take off on Fridays and take your
That's a
children
fact.
out of school on Fridays.
It's the truth.
So,
Mhm.
they get a lot of times caught up into the doctrinal differences and the creed differences and the
That's
dogma
right.
differences and the polemics of it, not
Mhm.
understanding that there's a
Brother, that's
long
100% correct.
tradition of Islam in America that was held down and made firm
Ain't
all the
that,
way back into these times that we're talking about, 1600s, 1500s, and all that, all the way up until now. We're the keepers of that. That's why you don't see us sweating like that.
brother? See, that's so beautiful, but I literally got goosebumps because just in a few short words, you affirmed a continuum, an unbroken continuum, brother.
Yes,
Yeah.
honest. Alhamdulillah, honest, man.
I threw up something. I threw you some slides, but there's a red slide, and this goes back to the whole thing about the Moorish movement being the foundation of the whole idea of Africoid people being American Aborigine.
Mm-hmm.
and that you can't really. That's the one, brother. We found this back in 2016, brother. I want you to read what that slide says for everybody.
The Carta Marina of
Yep,
Frisius,
Apricius.
1525, issued in
Yep,
1525 in exposition of his theories and sea charts. The map is of interest as the sole instance in which North America is called a part of Africa. Wow.
that's
Wow.
the Caribbean, brother.
Wow.
That's the
Wow.
Caribbean. Yes, sir.
Fascinating. And this is the narrative and critical history of America, Spanish exploration, page
And it's
127. See, and another thing is, and Professor Issa brought this up in the show yesterday too, that if you really want to understand a lot more, sometimes we get caught up into the British narrative and historical records of America, but you're doing yourself a disservice unless you go into the Spanish records in particular as it pertains to North America, not just Central and South America, but specifically North America. They got to understand that the Spanish and the French were here before the British got here.
Correct.
You see? So if you really want to get into the records of what was taking place, you got to go to the Spanish records.
Right.
Got to.
Okay.
There's another slide that I sent you. It's a black slide, but it has a picture of people with heads on stakes. Can you pull that one up?
Okay, hold on. Let me see. This one.
That's the one.
Okay.
So this is a quote from a book by an author out of England. His name was Peter Tompkins. The book's called Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids. It says, the quote from the book, it says, designed for the detection and the punishment of heretics, the Inquisition was used as a giant pork barrel for the enrichment of the crown, church, and inquisitors, while cheerfully eliminating dangerous radicals, those who had been taught medicine, geography, rhetoric, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and astronomy by Moorish philosophers in universities such as Cordova, whose libraries had since been destroyed. As a result, no Spaniard could write, speak, or even think without taking into consideration the fires of the Holy Office. As a deterrent to possible opposition in New Spain, 34 Negroes, including 4 women, were hanged and decapitated in Mexico City.
Wow. Wow. That is fascinating.
What in the world does quote unquote Negroes in Mexico City have to do with the Spanish Inquisition?
Right. Right. That got to be read one more
Well,
time. No. And this from a book called from Peter Tompkins, Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids.
Mexican Pyramids, yes.
Designed for the detection and punishment of heretics, the Inquisition was used as a giant pork barrel for the enrichment of crown, church, and inquisitors, while cheerfully eliminating dangerous radicals, those who had been taught medicine, geography, rhetoric, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and astronomy by Moorish philosophers in universities such as Cordova, whose libraries had since been destroyed. As a result, no Spaniard could write, speak, or even think without taking into consideration the fires of the Holy Office as a deterrent to possible opposition in New Spain.
Negro.
34 of them.
Wow.
Were hanged and decapitated in Mexico City. Now, this is not shocking.
Right.
But I gotta find it. I ain't gonna be able to do it tonight. I think you might have sent it to me, Mansa. There's a video of a Mexican brother that's going off about people's interpretation of Mexicans and Spanish history, and his bottom line is that the conquistadors moved here and did not go back and did not want to go back to Spain.
That's
And
right.
that they stayed here. So they continued the inquisitional tactics
Yes.
wherever they migrated.
Yes.
Yes. Wow.
Yes. Yes. There was actually that picture, that woodcut that you see, right, comes from, well, it's talking about that period of history. But guess what? They call it. Oh, pull that up.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back.
The next one, that other slide.
This one.
It's called that one. It's called, they call it the Mexican Inquisition. So there was an Inquisition here.
Wow.
Right. Because this is where the Inquisitionists came.
Come on.
and hold on. Not only that, hold on. Let's look at the lineage. Let's look at the DNA. And just real quick too, it'd be funny when people talk about lineage and delineating. Nationality is actually pertaining to lineage.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that real quick. So let's get it straight.
It's the
39th Congress, which is the Congress that ratified the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments in their legislative discussions.
Yes.
They defined nationality and race as synonyms.
Mm. 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 Mm.
You know, we know things change over the centuries, but
right. But see, brother,
them,
that was the perfect segue into this slide, and this slide is the perfect segue into bringing things up to the modern time.
Right.
So this is page 510 out of a book called Lincoln's Philosophy of Common Sense by Edward Kempf.
And I just want to add this before we read it. The point that I was making is when we follow the lineage of what's taking place, you said there was an Inquisition here because the Inquisitionists came here. When you look at Christopher Columbus, and he said he saw mosques and minarets.
Yes.
When he was coming over here.
Correct.
And he brought translators, interpreters who spoke Arabic and who spoke Hebrew.
That's a fact, brother.
You see? So
it's a fact.
They were coming here because there were Moors here with trade and in societies and kingdoms, etc. Because they call Montezuma a Moor. All right, so and we just showed how Indian was used in 1621 to replace Moorish.
Yes.
Right.
So I just want to lay that foundation.
He didn't call them Indians.
He didn't call them Indians. He called them Moors.
Call them Indians.
And he said that certain groups looked like the people of the Canaries. We know who was in the Canaries. It was Berbers.
Right.
Yes.
And who are Berbers? Moors and Arabs.
That's right, brother.
So and the Canaries, they had attacked the Canaries in the 1300s. So the Canaries got hit before Ceuta. In 1415, they hit the Berbers and the Canaries first.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. You know what, dear brother? I'm gonna send you a video clip. But before we do that, I want to go through this slide.
Yes, please.
Clip. I just sent you the video clip. Now I got to give you context on the video clip before I go to this slide.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting my car repaired, and I was put on to this brother from Sudan. He owns a business. He owns a car repair business here in Syracuse, New York. And this was when he and I first met. I'm waiting for the car now to get done. And I'm sitting in the office. It was cold outside.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me my name, and I told him my name.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Where you from?" I said, "I'm from here."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Oh, so you're African American?" I said, "I'm Moorish American." And his eyebrow went up. And he said, "Okay." And so then his partner started talking about Native Americans. And then he jumped in. He said, "No, that's not what we're talking about." And then you'll see the rest of it.
Yes. Now that you say that, I just want to bring up the Sudanese people.
Yes.
Regardless of what they're going through, may Allah rectify their affairs. I mean,
that's right.
They have done a lot in cross-pollination to help us understand traditional Islam, and also to help with the movements that we had going on in America. And I bring that up to say that I brought up in our first show doing this that one of my wife's best friend is Sudanese, and she's a descendant of who they called the Mahdi, who fought against the British, right? And so her father, he's going to come on the show soon too. Her father's a professor, and we had a lot to talk about. But he's the one that put me on to the fact that the Arabs trace the lineage back to Ismail.
Yes,
sir. Ismail mother was a Nubian.
The Egyptian.
Right.
That's right.
But he says she's actually Nubian. They went to literally to Nubian.
Mm.
And he said, he pointed out
But
that, hold on. And he pointed out that when Ismail wanted to get a wife, he wanted to go to the land of where his mother was from. So he went back to Nubia to get a wife. So the Arabs themselves directly descend from Nubians. And he gave me a modern day Arabs, Islamic scholar or Arabic scholar who teaches this today.
That's powerful.
But the last part, I want you to go in, but this last part, this is interesting. After he started reading and researching the stuff that we got on the Moorish History TV page, he said, "Are you sure that your people come from Africa? Maybe we come from y'all." I just want to play that out there real quick. I just want to put that. He gonna be on the show soon too, so I just want to put that out there. I just want to say that's what he said as a Sudanese.
good one.
What?
Good
Yeah,
one.
that's what he
Now,
said
all
to
I was
me.
going to say is that, Nubian is more of a modern term.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Ultimately, I think that's Upper Egypt.
The land of Punt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Upper
it's
Egypt.
still Egyptian. You know
Yes,
what
sir.
I mean?
But
Even if
it's
it's
really
Nubian. I
Kushite.
know
It's really Kushite.
Yeah,
That too.
yeah, absolutely. But I think Kushite is coming from the Hebrew.
Right.
I think. So
But
we
I don't think
I gotta
Nubian. I don't think Nubian is younger than the Egypt term, because
with
Egypt is Greco.
Greek. Right. Greek pretty old. It ain't Hebrew, it ain't Semitic old, but
That's
it's
a
old.
good point.
It's old in comparison to other
what's so
languages.
beautiful?
You know what I mean?
You know what's so beautiful about listening to both of you brothers? Because, like, shout out to my colleagues on Ali's men. Y'all sound like us.
Yo,
You
yo.
can tell y'all spar a lot.
Listen.
Y'all are
Yo,
close.
what? Yo, listen, man. Me and this guy will argue for months on one single point. Honest. We'll argue on one single point. Yeah.
That's beautiful. But that's a beautiful thing, brother.
Yeah.
So I want to
Honest.
get to this slide
Yes,
real
please
quick.
do. Please do.
Yo. So this took place in what I'm reading is a quote from Abraham Lincoln during his inauguration. Right? He says, quote, "I have said in substance that the Dred Scott decision was in part based on assumed historical fact, which were not really true. And I ought not to leave the subject without giving some reason for saying this. I therefore give as an instance or two which I think fully sustain me. Chief Justice Taney, in delivering the majority opinion of the court, insists at great length that Negroes were no part of the people who made and for whom was made the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution of the United States. On the contrary, Judge Curtis, in his dissenting opinion, shows that in 5 of the 13 states, to wit, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and North Carolina, free Moors were voters and, in proportion to their numbers, had the same part in making the Constitution that the white people had. He showed this with so much peculiarity as to leave no doubt in its truth. And as a sort of conclusion on that point, holds the following language. Now he's quoting Justice Curtis. This is Justice Curtis' words. The Constitution was ordained and established by the people of the United States through the action in each state of those peoples who were qualified by its laws to act thereon in behalf of themselves and all other citizens of the state. In some of the states we have seen, Moorish persons were among those qualified by law to act on the subject. These Moorish persons were not only included in the body of the people of the United States,
Wow.
by whom the Constitution was ordained and established, but in at least 5 of the states, they had the power to act, and doubtless did act, by their suffrages upon the question of its adoption."
Wow. SubhanAllah. Wow. And this is Abraham Lincoln, 1861, quoted by Edward Kempf, Lincoln's Philosophy of Common Sense, page 510. See, that's why I love Moors. We come with them references and them sources, man. You know? Woo!
Now, watch this. In later editions of this book, they don't say Moorish persons, they say Negroes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but here's the
We're
thing.
talking about the same people.
Right, exactly.
You all are familiar when, before Lincoln became president, he was an attorney.
Yes.
And he defended, you already know, the William Dungy case.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Black
he
Bill.
knew the distinction, didn't he?
Black Bill.
There you
Yeah.
go, brother.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, that's an interesting quote. That's a new one for me, honest, for
Yes,
passing
Honest.
that
sir.
on.
Yeah, I told you we breaking
Um,
atoms today, man.
but that's quantified with Judge Aldridge. You familiar with Judge Aldridge?
Barely, brother. Good, but I want to hear. See,
You know,
I'm trying
Element, he
to
like flexing. You know,
find.
if you drop something on him that he didn't see, he got to
yo, I
come
love.
back with something. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Lock.
I'm trying to find the source right now. I'm looking for it. But Judge Aldridge
Yeah,
also correlated pretty much in opposition to Taney,
nice.
Dred Scott's position, and he also mentioned the treaties.
Mm.
I
Ooh,
think he
what?
was I want to say he was a Missouri judge, or
Mm.
I'm looking for it now. If I find it, I'm gonna send it over
Okay.
And
Okay.
pronto.
see, brother Mansa, and this, of course, dovetails into the whole present day birthright citizenship
Yeah.
issue in
Oh
the
yeah.
14th Amendment.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
see it, right? You
Yeah.
know,
I found it.
And
I
see, and see,
found
and
it
see, this is
yeah,
something. Hold on, but see, now
right
as
there.
we move the needle a little bit further, this is
yes,
something me and Elamir have been going back and forth volleyball with for the past since it's been a discussion. But continue though. We're gonna get there.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so, 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 what do we have here? See,
Hold
the 14th. Oh, go ahead. No, please do. I want to hear it.
Just sent it to you. I sent so you can pull it up, but I'll read it
Okay, okay, hold on. You sent it to me where? On the
on the
gram?
gram.
Right here?
Yep.
All
Ooh,
right.
ooh,
Mm-hmm. All right. You want to read it or
ooh.
you want me to read it?
Yeah, can you see the words?
Yeah, I can see the words.
Oh, all right, yeah, because all I see is the face, but I got it right here. Peleg Emery Aldridge, July 24th, 1813 to March 14th, 1895, was a teacher, lawyer, politician, jurist who served as the 12th mayor of Worcester, Massachusetts, and as an associate justice of the Massachusetts Superior Court. His book on the criminal laws of Massachusetts states, no African or Negro other than a subject of the Emperor of Morocco,
What?
comma, or a citizen of some one of the United States shall tarry within this commonwealth more than 2 months, and after the complaint before some justice of peace, in order to depart, if he remains 10 days, he may be committed to any house of correction to hard labor till the sessions of the peace shall next be holden, and if convicted before said court may be whipped, not exceeding 10 strokes, and ordered to depart out of the commonwealth within 10 days. And if he or she shall not depart, the same process shall be had and punishment inflicted. And so Totes quotes.
Mm.
Page, page 10. The exception in this act in favor of the subjects of the Emperor of Morocco was doubtless made in deference to certain stipulations contained in a treaty with that potentate. The, ex- the exception in favor of a Negro who was a citizen of some one of the United States shows that the legislators of that day had not adopted the doctrine of Dred Scott, the Dred
Mm.
Scott case, that a Negro of the African race, though born of parents free at the time of his birth, could not become a citizen of a state if his ancestors had been imported into this country and held as slaves. The
Mm.
criminal laws of Massachusetts, substance of the remarks of Judge Aldridge by Peleg Emery Aldridge.
Mm.
But
Mm.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
Wow.
that's an
Wow.
interesting
That's crazy.
statement.
Wow.
So I want to note that where it says could not become a citizen of a state if his ancestors had been imported into this country and held as slaves. So with the passing of the Human Trafficking Acts, Congress was given power to passed legislation to enforce the 13th Amendment. And one of those legislations that came out of it is the Human Trafficking Act.
Mm.
So under the Human Trafficking Act, if one is a victim of human trafficking, one is entitled to citizenship in terms
Mm,
of if you were imported here, if you
Right.
were illegally trafficked into the United States, then that individual under the Human Traffic Act is entitled to citizenship and other
wow.
benefits.
That's powerful, brother.
That's powerful for several reasons, though.
Yes.
Like, it's powerful because it brings up our situation and in relation to the treaty and the Sultan of Morocco at the time, right? But
Yes.
then it also hinges on the current discussion of
Correct.
birthright citizenship and the claim that a lot of illegal immigrants, at least the ones who are either Mexican or from wherever, who were trafficked here by
Yes.
narco traficatos or whoever,
That's
right?
right.
Yes.
Yes.
That has huge implications.
Huge implications
Right.
and huge preventative implications for what we know is coming next. We
Mm,
all know, not to jump too far ahead, but we all know that the immigration issue or the undocumented immigrant issue is test marketing for the real victims.
mm. Wow.
It's a test
Wow.
market.
Yes.
See what I'm
Yes.
saying? And the
Yes.
whole thing hangs on it hangs on the false narrative that the 14th Amendment made us citizens.
Mm. Hmm. See,
Hmm.
now,
Right.
before we even go dig in, before we go there,
Yes.
just let's pull up this other source.
Yes.
Because me and Elamir, we was just talking about this actually before we got on the show. But
Yes.
I know you wanted to show us this.
No, there's a video. I sent you a video clip.
Okay, but this is something you sent as well.
Yes.
And this is the image of New Spain.
From 1492 to 1898.
Now look at how much territory Spain had.
And that's where we found those references to the Negro de Nación de
Yes.
Morisca,
Yes.
The nation of
the
black Moors.
the
Yes.
nation of black Moors is
Wait a minute. Wait.
is in those
Back.
records.
Wait.
Pull that
Y'all
source
found
up,
what?
Al. You gotta pull that source
Yeah.
up, Al. Pull that
Y'all
source
found
up.
what?
Put those in the
We've been word is bond. We've been looking for something like that.
Yo,
yes,
yeah, you gotta pull that source up, my brother.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Y'all found what?
Yeah, no, I told you, man. Tonight we breaking atoms, man. We smashing them. Listen, we on our CERN. We doing some CERN activity right now,
Yes. Correct.
man. But this is fascinating, though. It's amazing that you got this map because look, it just shows. See, I said yesterday too, and yesterday showed that when we talk about these discussions, people need
Yes.
to pull up a timeline in their mind and a map of the world.
And an image. That's right, brother.
Because you understand it. When you start getting into events, then you can put it in that timeline, and then you can also
Yeah.
look at the maps. Now, this shows you the Spanish holdings, land holdings in America from 1492 to 1898. This is the entire. Look at this is all of the United States,
Yeah, pretty much.
all the way up in the. Look at this.
Up in the present day Canada.
Yeah. Look at this. So you have to go to the Spanish records to really get the full. This is the United States, but this is the British holdings, right? This is
Yes.
original 13 colony stuff right here.
Correct.
You see?
Yes.
And we also know too that Spain also had holdings all the way up into North Carolina as well.
That's right,
They
brother.
had these portions too. You
They
know?
had the Carolinas. Yeah.
That's right.
So it's very important for people to understand that the United States grew over time. What you're seeing now is not what it was. You see what I'm saying? Jurisdictionally, at least. You
That's
see
a
what I'm
fact.
saying? For sure. So I'm going to play that video you was telling me about. This one right
Please
here,
play
right?
the video because it's a perfect follow-up to this. And mind you, this was about 4 years ago when this video happened. Hopefully
Okay.
you can hear it.
Hopefully I can, because I know we was having some trouble with that yesterday, but let me know if y'all can hear it, okay?
No,
Y'all can't hear it?
can't hear it.
Oh, man. Can't seem to get... You know what? You know what? Can I download it? I can download it.
Okay, do that.
If I can download it, I can upload it and play it to the media. I can do that.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know if I can download it. It's not allowing me to download it. Man, okay.
So real quick, I'll just give the quick narration.
Mm-hmm.
You see the brother right there talking. He was talking about Native Americans, and then the other guy, he said, no, that's not what we're talking about. He goes, what we're talking about was people want in the West talk about English colonization, but not Spanish. He said Spain was here, but Africa was here too. How could Spain be here and Africa not be here? That's what he said. He said, and then he said, but they don't want to talk about that because they don't want people knowing Africa had any business over here. He said, but if Africa ruled Spain for 800 years, how could they not be here when Spain got here? And then he said, he just flat out said, he said it was Morocco. Then I asked him, I said, how do you know that? He said, we all know that. We learned that in school.
Wow.
You know that book, Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackey, has references to black men described as Spaniards.
Yes. Spanish Negro.
No, I'm not familiar with that. What book is that?
The Secret Services of John Mackey.
Yes.
We got that on there. That's let me
Yo,
try
my
to
bad.
find
Sometimes you done learn so much stuff that you forget it. Like, you know what I mean?
You forget what you
you forget what you know.
Yo,
You know what I'm
happen.
saying? Sometimes.
No, that does happen.
You know, so pardon me. You know,
happen.
I may need to refresh my memory on some things. But
that does happen.
But did you find that quote about the nation of black Moors in Portuguese?
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, I sent you the on the gram.
Okay, let me pull it up. Hold on.
You gotta probably do a search because it's a PDF file that's gonna.
Okay, yeah, that pops up. Okay.
Yeah, that's like the source, but
okay, I got it here. So you still have to run it. Do you know what page it's on specifically?
No, that's why I say you probably got to do a find search and just type in Morisca. Try that. Search Morisca or Nación Morisca. But that term, Nación Morisca, is found in La Florida, as well as the other Spanish oldies, Louisiana included.
Okay, hold on.
Can you tell me how to spell that, dear brother? What's that?
I've seen it spelled different.
Well, I just
this
pulled
one
it up.
I'm looking at now is Morisca.
Yeah, that's what I pulled it up as.
I've seen it spelled with a U as well. I've seen it spelled MOUR.
Gotcha.
Okay, here it goes right here. Y'all see this? Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. I say De Nación Morisca. It's on the third one. Okay, here we go. Y'all can see that?
Yeah. Negro de Nación Morisca.
You see it?
Right Description.
Wow.
Yeah.
Negro de Nación Morisca.
Okay, let's see what that translates. Let me
Crazy.
The Moors of the Black Nation, or the Black Moors Nation.
That's what that means.
Yeah. De Nación is the nation.
Let's go ahead. Let's see.
You know what Morisca is.
Well, let me ask ChatGPT to translate this. Just so we're doing it in live. In live.
So my translation says black people from the Moorish nation.
Yo.
Look, this is what it says. The phrase Negro de Nación Moriscas llamado translates to a black man of Moorish nation. Negro equal black man, de Nación Morisca equal of a Moorish nation origin historical term referring to people of Moorish ancestry, often black or Afro-Islamic populations in Iberian records, Yamado equal name the call. There you go. There you go.
And
Wow.
punch in, what's that chat? Punch in, tell it to identify its use in Spanish American records.
Damn, we really breaking Adams today. We maybe pull up
Yo,
Chat GPT on him.
Get to it.
Okay, here's the direct, accurate, historically grounded explanation of how the phrase Negro de Nación Morisca was used in Spanish American colonial records and what it meant in practice. Nación equal ethnic, cultural, or geographic origin. In colonial Spanish American, Nación did not mean a political nation. It meant a people, an ethnic group, or a cultural origin. Thus, de Nación Morisco identified the person as belonging to a Moorish people, not as a Spaniard, not as a generic African, but specifically tied to Moorish cultural lineage. Morisca identified a Moorish or Islam-associated origin. In Spanish records across the Americas, Mexico, Peru, the Caribbean, New Granada, Rio de la Plata, Morisca, Moriscos was used for a people of North African Moorish ancestry, especially those linked to Andalusi Muslims, North African Berbers, Moros from the Maghreb regions, expelled Moriscos, Muslim converts from Spain, captives taken via Iberia or Canary Island trade routes, which we talked about earlier, Africans with Muslim or Moorish cultural identity, Spanish scribes routinely labeled enslaved Africans who spoke Arabic, practiced Islam, came from Sudanic, came from Sudanic Muslim kingdoms.
Now
Whoa.
you gotta remember,
bro,
Bilad Al
can you please put that in my Facebook inbox,
Yo, I'm
please?
saying, I'm gonna send you the link
you
now.
got you got to remember that Bilad Al Sudan was West Africa, not modern East Africa. You know, the original Sudanese.
I'm sending that to you right now, brother.
Oh, beautiful.
So, and it
Got it.
says, came from areas influenced by Moorish rule. As Morisca or Morisco, even if they were ethnically sub-Saharan African, that tied it in. This is why we find many entries reading Negro de Nación Morisco Morisca equal a black person of Moorish origin or identity. Why combine Negro and Morisca? The combination Negro de Nación Morisca appears frequently in slave sale contracts, census records,
Yep.
padrones, baptismal
Yep.
registries,
Yep.
notarial documents, inquisition records, passenger registers.
Bing.
It meant the person was black, racial category, but their national. Oh, this is crazy. Their
So I'm
national
saying.
or cultural identity was Moorish, not generic Guinea, Congo, Mandinga, etc.
Yo, bro. Yo, you just cracked an.
Yo, man, you know how to.
Yo, you just cracked an Adam with that. Yikes. Yo. No. Real talk, right? Because we all know slavery has existed since the dawn of humanity. Our people, again, false narrative, think that our problems are rooted from slavery. When our problems are really identity crisis. We all know this, right? But the biggest difference between the African transatlantic slave trade was that we were made perpetual slaves.
Right.
That's the biggest difference. See, most slaves in terms of slavery was what? Indentured servitude or POWs. See what I'm saying? They never lost their identity. We were cut off from national identity, cut off from being a nation. See what I'm saying? That's why this is major, because what you just found is a piece, what you just presented is a piece that demonstrates reacquiring national identity. Repatriation, brother. Whew.
This is all reconquista.
That's our reacquisition, bro. What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Gotta take our name back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yo,
That's
okay, it's funny you say that. Somebody who's not necessarily, who's definitely not a fan of Islam. As a matter of fact, he's staunchly anti-Islamic. I forgot the brother's name, but he's talking about more, the term more and blackness. And he says, even we, our people, even the name more, we have to contend for as ours.
Chancellor Williams, Destruction
Chancellor
of Black
Williams. Thank you,
Civilization.
brother. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Yes.
Destruction of
Chancellor
Black
Williams.
Civilization.
Yes. 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 Yo,
I
that
think you're on mute, man.
Yeah, I was. My fault. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. We're walking library, so somebody was going to grab that joint. Chancellor Williams, Destruction of Black Civilization. He
that's it.
says
Destruction of
that
Black
Mm-hmm.
civilization.
we
Yeah,
have to contend
for
for
recognition. Yeah.
recognition.
As Moors. That's
Mm-hmm.
right, brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And what's
right.
fascinating about this is it's making that distinction that we try to explain to people so many times. It says they're national or cultural. It's just perfect. The person was black racial
Perfect.
category, but
It's perfect.
their national or cultural
Woo!
identity was
Woo!
Moorish, not generic Guinea, Congo, Mandinga. Because in the discussion, they'll say, "Yeah, y'all from the Congo, and y'all from the
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mandinga, yeah, y'all from the
Right.
Guinea,
Right.
not generic Guinea, Congo, Mandinga, etc." This
They're trying
distinction,
to ignore,
yes,
and again, I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to you two. They
Right.
want to, at all costs, it goes back to the whole rewriting,
yes,
revisionist
yes,
Western.
reframing,
Yes. They want to
Narratives.
ignore or erase the fact that there was an African empire that nearly unified Africa, but it did so under Islam.
Right.
yes, absolutely,
And
absolutely,
had portions of Europe.
Yes.
yep, yep. In fact, the reason I reverted to Islam
Yes.
was because of the Moors.
Come on now.
I was a super Kimite head. I was super Kimite, man. But after a while, you research, you like, I got to do something about the situation, right? And I'm like, the only records in history that we have where our people weren't the victims of these people, but were the conquerors and rulers of these people was under the Moorish identity. It was under the Moorish banner. And I'm like, what was these guys using and doing to be able to have that much power? And I'm like,
Right.
man, they were Muslims. They was practicing Islam. And that's what oriented me in that fashion. And it's real significant what you just said is that they want to hide the fact that Africa was conquering the world and was ruled and was united under the banner of Islam because there's a brother, and I brought this up yesterday, called Butch Ware. I'm gonna play it at a different time.
Rudolph Ware.
Oh, you know him? Yo, he has an interview where he did with some
Yes.
brothers who were
Yes.
super Kimite, black conscious guys, and he was pointing out that he didn't discredit John Henry Clark, but he was saying because they didn't speak French or Arabic or other languages, they didn't know how to go into the records to prove certain
Right.
things. And he was breaking down in the French records and other records
Yes.
how the Europeans created this Islamic or Arab slave trade narrative to
Yes.
throw off from them the responsibility of that they participated. And he even
Correct.
tracks it down to how many kingdoms in Africa who were Muslim, who were Moors, who were fighting against slavery and enslavement,
Yes.
and how the Arab slave trade, as we know it, didn't really start until like the 1800s, which was due to an oversupply of black bodies due to the transatlantic slave trade. I gotta send you that video. Excellent. He goes into the records, man. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I want to finish this part off. Just want to finish this part off so I could pass the floor to you guys. But
Go ahead. Please do.
this distinction mattered because Moorish or Muslim Africans were seen as highly educated, literate, politically aware, and sometimes viewed as potential insurrection risks. Many were
Yes.
multilingual, Arabic, Hausa, Wolof, Fulani, etc. Some had histories of military service or technical skills. As a result, they were categorized separately. In Spanish American records, Morisca often meant a Muslim-influenced African, most frequently West. Oh, it's going crazy now. Because see, this is why it's going crazy, because they
Yo,
normally try to exclude these areas from being rooted under the Moorish identity. They try to reserve
yes.
it for North Africa, which is Morocco,
Correct.
Algeria, Tunis.
Correct.
You see?
Yeah.
And play
But
that
that's
sub-Saharan game.
and
They
and
play
that's
that and then say that they're not
and
Africans, they're Arabs, and they're not you.
Right.
and that's yeah, exactly. And that's the modern game, though. That's the
The modern
modern game.
narrative and framing, yes.
Right. Because
Mm-mm.
in the 1800s, their narrative was different. So their narrative changes with the century.
Yes,
Right, right.
sir.
Most frequently, a Muslim-influenced African, most frequently West African or Sahelian groups connected to Mali, Songhai, House Estates, Futa Toro, Futa Jalan, Borno, Senegambia. Spanish scribes associated them with Arabic names, Islamic practices, Moorish dress, literacy. So they recorded them as Moriscos/Moriscas, even when phenotypically Negro. Examples from actual archival usage. These phrases appear in 16th to 18th century documents. Negro de Nación Morisco llamada Francisco, Esclava negra Nación Morisca de buena lengua, good tongue equal multilingual literate. Negro Bozal de Nación Morisco, Bozal equal African born, not Spanish speaking. Juan Negro de Nación Morisca procedente de Cabo Verde. Cape Verde was a major point where Muslim Africans were enslaved. Why it matters historically. The phrase confirms black populations in the Americas included many who were culturally Moorish or Muslim. Spanish classifications recognize Moorish identity as distinct and meaningful. C. Moor did not automatically mean white North African. It included black Muslims. This aligns with Inquisition records of Negros de Moriscos Cristianos Nuevos, slave registers referring to Negros Alarabes, accounts of African Quran readers in Mexico, Peru, and Cartagena. Oh, come on, I'm gonna just
Mhm.
stop
Yo,
because
bro, you get the prize
Yeah.
for that one, bro.
Original
Gee,
passport.
that's crazy.
yo,
Yo,
that's
yo,
cool.
mind blown, bro.
No. That's the find the brother, man. Too. That
That's crazy. You got the link, right? I sent it to you. Let me send it to you too,
yeah.
L.
Check them sources I grammed you.
Okay.
Because it correlates with the jurisdictional discussion
Yo,
as far as
so
the
brothers, I'm I'm
territories.
I'm I'm starting to run a little short on
Okay.
time, but
Okay.
yo, I
It's
pulled up
all
a
good.
slide. No, I want you because this slide is the perfect segue.
Okay.
I just sent you a slide,
Okay.
brother man.
I'm pull it up right now. And listen, we got to do this again because we
Yeah,
didn't even get to the main subject, but we got to do this again. Okay.
yeah,
I'm pulling it up right here. This is
yeah. Pull up this slide, brother man. This slide is the
The
perfect
knowledge
segue.
is infinite.
yeah, it
Yes, it
really
is.
is.
Yes, it is. But this slide here, yeah, bro, that's a book. That
Mm.
book is
Okay.
called The Devil's Bargain. Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, and the Storming of the Presidency.
Wow. And this is a number one New York Times bestseller.
Read the quote, brother.
Bannon received an education steeped in classics and history. The Benedictine curriculum was traditional Western culture presented in a context of Catholicism. We were all taught that Western civilization was saved 500 years ago in Spain when Ferdinand and Isabella defeated the Moors. Wow. The lesson was, here's where Muslims could have taken over the world, and here was the great stand where they were stopped. We were taught a worldview. This is how Catholicism survived. I think that shaped all of us. But what Steve took away, I think, was a belief that you've got to be willing to identify the threat.
Bro,
Wow.
ain't that what we looking
Mm,
at right now?
That's exactly what we're looking at.
mm.
Wow.
And then he got Bannon and Trump on there. Huh?
Yo, this is wow.
Yeah.
So this is
That's
his
what we're looking
worldview.
at right
That's what we're
now.
dealing with.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So that just goes to show you that those at the elite level see the same worldview that we have. They understand the basis.
You got to see it that way. You got to.
Brother, we
If
are
you get,
on the same playing field as the elites.
Mm, 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 mm. So, all right,
Yes,
so
we
listen. I want to wind it down because I want to be respectful of time. But listen, Aki, my brother, you know we're not even finished. We got to finish this at some
We're
point.
not
We're
even
gonna work it
finished.
out, but we got to finish this one.
Yes, we do.
The
Yes, we
the
do.
clips are going to be serious on this one, brother. When I put the clips out, they're going to be serious.
bars.
Yeah.
Bars.
So I want to
Yes.
wind it down, and I want to leave you with the last word. So what I'm going to do is pass the mic
Wait a
to
minute,
you.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Let's just one more clip. One more clip.
Go ahead,
Then
One
we
go
gonna
more.
ahead.
close out. Just
Okay.
show that last one I had sent
The
with
last
when he
one
talked
with Voltaire.
Voltaire. Yeah.
Okay.
Voltaire is the
Okay.
last. It correlates with the imperial geography that we was
Okay.
discussing.
Okay. Voltaire on the French expeditions in Africa. Almost all the coasts of Africa that we had discovered were under the dependence of the emperors of Morocco, who from the Strait of Gibraltar to the river of Senegal extended their domination across the deserts.
Across the desert.
Wow.
That's powerful.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
That
look.
is powerful.
And Voltaire's one of them ones. He got a lot of quotes.
Absolutely. Yo, brothers, listen, man. This did not disappoint.
Man, I'm
Honest.
flabbergasted right now, to be honest with you. Like
This
this
did
exceeded
not disappoint.
actually my expectation. Exceeded it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exceeded it.
likewise. All I want to say, listen, I'm honored to be in the presence not of just scholars and gentlemen, but true, sincere seekers and true souls that, to the best of their ability, are reflecting the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For real. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Alhamdulillah.
We have to learn to see those attributes in each other. That's our work.
Yes. For sure.
The
You know what I'm
color
saying?
of Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Hey, I just want to say we're gonna give you the last word. First, we're gonna go to El Amir. I'm gonna say my piece, but you are honored, esteemed guest. This is a
No
long
problem.
time in the making. So
Yes.
I gotta leave you with the last word. So El, what you want to close this show off with tonight?
I just want to say, much honors for coming on and blessing us with them bars. We need them bars. We got to have them things archived, documented, and on deck. You know,
Mhm.
that's what we do. We store them, we archive them, put them up there. I appreciate you coming on. We need you to come back. Let's get a part 2.
Absolutely, brother.
And let's keep doing it. This is Moorish History TV. This is how we do.
Absolutely.
With that, I'm gonna say salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. I want to say, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you follow the brother when he give his information out, or where you can touch bases with him. I want to say again, this is long overdue, but it's perfect timing. Allah always does things at the right time, right? And I just want to say that this is for those who are watching and those in the community. Y'all know how epic this is, and it showed. The thing I want to say is this brother means a lot to us personally, individually, and to our community.
Likewise.
You know what I'm saying? And he's a national treasure. You know what I'm saying? And so just make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. And I also want to put out there, we definitely want to do a part 2. But my brother, anytime, you just say the word. It's an open invitation. Open invitation. You know?
Listen.
So with that, I want to say assalamu alaikum. May Allah increase you and raise you in rank amongst the righteous and guide you upon the straight path. Ameen.
Ameen. Yo, listen, brothers. Like I said, I mentioned my brothers and comrades, Ali's men, Moorish American Research Team. And I got to tell you, this felt like home. It felt like You know what I'm saying? It
Mm.
felt like I was amongst those brothers. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
from us and myself to you all, man, I'm honored at the welcome. I'm honored just to be in your presence.
Likewise.
And it's not even just the warmth, the scholarship, bro.
Yeah, it's real.
What? You talk about me with bars? No, nah. Y'all came with bars, brother. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
nah, this
Yeah.
is beautiful, brother. And you know what? Again, the rising tide raises all ships.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I can't wait. I want to say to the viewers, we this was supposed to be lay the historical groundwork and then talk to the that's part 2.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss it.
Right. You don't want to miss
You
that
do
one.
not want to miss it. Because with this, the historical narrative laid as the groundwork, you can now actually understand the Advent assessments. You can actually understand the present conditions and what we're seeing unfold right in front of our eyes right now. You can understand it, a decolonized narrative and a decolonized perspective. I want to thank these brothers for bringing me on, man. And again, you know, may Allah increase you all with success and protect you all from those who may seek to do you harm.
Ameen.
God,
Love you, my brother.
I love you too, brother.
This is solid.
Peace and blessings.
With that, salam alaikum, peace and blessings, everybody. We're going to catch you on the next one.
Absolutely.
Honest. Peace and love.